We got a new cooler, boys. You want a longer countdown? I don't know. Seems pretty long already. So many people used to complain about my 5-minute countdown. So many people. Thank you for the resubscription. And it was like people that followed Phil and shit. They'd be like, I can't believe I'm supposed to sit here for 5 minutes. Like, Phil listens to fucking 2 albums and then dances for a while. Like, what? There are a few people that have thanked me. I guess they get notifications late or don't recognize them right away or something. So they get here late and they thank me for the... That's why I've always left it up. I don't know.
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out.
Damn, Destiny's got some heavy hitters on his January 6th stream right now. He's got Willie Mack, Nick Diorio. There's a couple guys I recognize their faces, but I don't know their names here. Willie Mack's huge. Nick Diorio's pretty big. Destiny, of course, is huge by himself, but he's got almost 14,000 people watching him on YouTube. Damn. Must be nice. Never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves. We won't let the world burn away. I'm happy to report that although we were in the fucking 90s, hundreds, shutting down the audio, right now we're sitting at 34 degrees, 33.8. Like, that's insane. My cooler must have quit working or must have been failing for a long time because I've not seen numbers this low in literally years. Like I was telling you, it usually idles at 60. Not anymore. This fucking cooler's insane. And it was cheap, too. It was like $20, $25. I got a recommendation from Tech Jesus. Gamers Nexus. You guys know who Gamers Nexus is? That's Tech Jesus on YouTube. Guy with long hair. He does really, really intensive like case reviews and cooler reviews and shit. Like probably some of the most intense testing on YouTube until Linus Tech Tips gets his lab going. All right, let's pause this. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so freaking happy. Temperature is currently 34 degrees. Dude, it doesn't even cut out audio to like 100. 95 and above, which you're never supposed to take a CPU over 95, but I got the limits pulled just so we can stream a couple more minutes. But anyways, here we go. Roll the intro.
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome everybody. I'm Will Bird. This is the Cold Beer Confessional, and look at those temperatures. 33.6 degrees with all my tabs open, all my programs running, everything's going. 33.6. This is all Celsius. But we were hitting 100, which is hot enough to boil water. I think that the pump that was circulating the water that's supposed to cool my CPU has probably been going out for a long time, because since I had the issue before when the fan quit, I had a fan quit, and I had been monitoring the temperature since then. It was, I told you guys, it was like a 60 at idle. If I didn't have OBS open or broadcasting or anything, it would be like down in like, I don't know, 40, 50. But this one sets below 30 degrees Celsius when it's, I guess I could turn it to Fahrenheit. It sets below 30 degrees Celsius when, isn't there a Fahrenheit button? Check for updates. Is it over here, settings? When it was just sitting here in idle. And even when I open my shit, it doesn't change that much. I can't see anything. Notify, update, edit sources, install plugin. I thought there was a Fahrenheit. I guess not. Oh, well. Anyways, everything in the PC is measured in Celsius anyway. So there you go. 33.4. These are my fan curves that I have on just because I was having issues. Basically, it ramps up the fans to 100% when it hits 40 degrees and then tries to back it back down. And this cooler was cheap. So if you're ever looking for a CPU cooler, this is the recommendation I got. And I'll show it to you. So let's go to Amazon. It was the Peerless. I got this from a YouTube video, the best of 2020. It's a dual fan air cooler, right? So it's not a liquid cooler. And the one I've got is the original Assassin 120. It's not that one. That one's got a fan in the middle. Where's mine at? Is it the Assassin Mini, maybe? It's got a fan on... Yeah, I think it's got a fan on both sides. Anyways, Peerless, Thermal Right Peerless Assassin 120. That's what I've got. It's got 6 heat pipes. They go up. But if you don't know what heat pipes... So the way you keep a CPU cool, obviously it makes heat when it's doing its thing. They have these pipes that have a vacuum in them, and there's a little bit of liquid in them. And it's incredibly easy for that liquid to move inside the pipe because it's in a vacuum and it's got a little bit of, it's almost like the same way your veins work, like capillary action. So it heats that up. That travels up to the part with the fins, just like a car radiator. Air blows across it, cools it, and it drips back down to the bottom over and over and over again. Now, typically you get better cooling from a liquid system, which is what I had before. But apparently mine was on the fritz because I had what they call an AIO CPU cooler, which is basically the same thing, but instead of being like attached to the CPU, there's like a little pump that's attached to the CPU. Kind of like this is a good image. There's a little pump attached to the CPU, and that pump, the thing right here in the center, the little lit up thing with the emblem on it, that pump pushes it to a radiator, and then fans do it. So we're doing away with the liquid, and instead we're using heat pipes, which is the way it always was traditionally until people started moving to liquid cooling. But, yeah, I've not seen numbers this low in a long-ass time. I even tried reapplying thermal paste. I'm guessing my pump just quit. And the way an AIO is made, it's all in one, so you can't change out the pump, right? It all comes together, and it's a sealed system. If you do like a custom liquid cooling, you buy your pipes, your pump, your radiator, you buy all that separately. It also came with 2 more fans, so now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 system fans now. So hopefully it's putting out some positive pressure and drawing in some cool air over here. I did keep the fan just off to the side, and hopefully you guys can't hear it, so I'll keep running it. Either way, thank you guys for joining us. The $20 cooler was the fix, and temperatures are freaking amazing. I was so worried that it was going to be something else, like the computer CPU die was like fucked up, and it had like a hot spot on it because something fried and I overheated it, but it seems like it's working fine. You guys have any issues? Everybody hear me all right? You guys sound all right? What's up? Either way, thank you guys for joining us. There's a Twitter post I wanted to read you guys because, first of all, there's a Twitter post that I want to read because I think it kind of encompasses a lot of people, the way a lot of people feel right now about Trump and the election. And then there is a part of Destiny's video from yesterday that I want to play because the introduction is literally exactly the way I feel. But this is a post from Jill Anthony, and it says, what many in the MAGA world don't see. First of all, we're doing 100% guaranteed. We're doing a Patreon only show tomorrow, and we're going over some Phil stuff. That's Patreon only, any level, any paid level. Everybody's invited. Patreon only tomorrow. Anyways, Jill Anthony, what many in MAGA world don't seem to understand is that TFS, Trump fatigue syndrome, is way worse than TDS right now. TFS is affecting people that might have voted for him or have voted for him in the past, while TDS is people that would have never voted for him, right? There are people with Trump derangement syndrome. You can't even talk to them about Trump. But there's also people that are just fatigued with Trump, that are tired of fucking Trump. It says they also don't understand that the constant fangirling, cheerleading, and over-the-top rhetoric about him constantly leads to more TFS. He's human with a lot of flaws and has made a lot of mistakes, so quit turning him into some mythical character that doesn't exist. This idol worship of him has become boring and tiresome. And I agree with that. So, like, Kyle Rittenhouse, even if you hate Kyle Rittenhouse, all he said is that I'm voting for someone who's going to be good on the Second Amendment, so I'm voting for fucking Ross Perot. MAGA fucking attacked him, like came out of nowhere, fucking attacked him, said they should reopen his case, said that he should be in fucking prison. The people that supported him before are now like, fuck it. If he don't support Trump, I don't support him. Joe Rogan says he's voting for RFK. Who gives a fuck? MAGA, they attack him. Anytime something's brought up about January 6th, that was fake. Anytime something's brought up about the security of our elections, they're all rigged. Anytime, and even when you bring up things that Trump has said, everybody knows he said them. Everybody knows he's done this. Everybody knows what's going on. And immediately people claim that it's not real. Like yesterday, he was bragging. He's now in a lawsuit, him and Elon Musk. He was bragging about firing people, bragging about Elon Musk just firing people that want to unionize. That's illegal. You can't just fire people for wanting to join a union. Now, I live in a right-to-work state in Tennessee, and I understand that often people get fired for other reasons, right? Other reasons for wanting to unionize. But when we're talking about auto manufacturers in a pro-union state, you can't just fire people for wanting to unionize. You can't fire people for going on strike. There's like protections in place for these. So now the auto workers, I guess, have filed suit against Trump and Elon Musk. That was a big news story today. It's like they say the quiet part out loud all the time, right? It is, it's just wild that and then people are pretending. That's not what he said. It's not what he said. You got it wrong. It's not what he said. We heard him say it. That's not what he did. He didn't say that. or make the craziest little thing. It's like whatever orders he puts out, they immediately take them and run with them. Like when we were talking about the FBI raid of Mar-a-Lago, they always have a plan in case they have to do use of force, in case someone gets shot, someone gets hurt, they have a heat casualty, whatever. They always have a plan in the event of use of force. They're like, oh, they planned to kill Trump. Look, they did a use of force document, rules of engagement. So they're either making shit up that didn't happen or that's irrelevant, and anything that did happen, they're like, that didn't happen. No, he didn't say that. And now Trump and Elon Musk are literally just sharing AI photos or claiming other photos are AI. That blows my mind. It's crazy. And anyways, that was the post. I shared it and put my own comments with it, but I thought it's a pretty good post even before I shared it. What's next? It's from the Independent. It says, how Elon Musk is disrupting U.S. elections to boost Trump. State investigators and watchdogs are closely monitoring whether the world's wealthiest man is potentially defrauding voters while disinformation floods his social media platform, Alex Woodward reports. While he stokes far-right hysteria overseas, Elon Musk is amplifying election disinformation at home. The 2024 presidential cycle is the first since Musk bought X, formerly Twitter. Under his ownership, the fact-checkers are gone. AI-generated content is feeding false election information to millions of users, and Musk himself is responsible for misleading posts that have been viewed more than 1 billion times. The world's wealthiest man not only controls a platform where he can boost Donald Trump's campaign, he has also helped to launch a Trump-supporting political action committee, a PAC, to spend and raise unlimited dollars to get him elected. A uniquely powerful combination that election analysts, civil rights groups, and state prosecutors are closely watching. Elon Musk is abusing his privileged position as an owner of a small but politically influential social media platform to sow disinformation that generates discord and distrust, according to Imran Ahmed, CEO of the Center for Countering Digital Hate, which found that none of Musk's posts about the U.S. elections have been fact-checked. The platform is failing woefully to contain the kind of algorithmically boosted incitement that we all know can lead to real-world violence as we experienced on January 6, 2021. The independent request for comments from X received an auto reply. Busy now. Check back later. An image of an iPhone text message appears on the screen. Hey, you need to vote? The next message includes a picture of a bloodied Donald Trump raising his fist above the headline, Trump rally assassination attempt, followed by a video clip of Trump on stage as shots are fired towards him. This is out of control, replies a man lying in bed as the messages roll in. How do I start? Register to vote, the sender replies. It's easy. The message includes a link to America PAC, Elon Musk's Trump-supporting political action committee. Now, if you don't know about PACs, they basically have unlimited amounts of money to spend, right? They can't give it directly to Trump, but they can spend it for his benefit. The 15-second ad ends with a message, register to vote now. Users are asked for their address, phone number, and age. After they hit submit, they're told thank you, and that's it. By the end of their visit to Musk's PAC website, not only were they not registered to vote, they also ended up handing over extremely valuable data to a billionaire-backed operation. The voter registration page was active for at least a month, according to website data. The stunt is now under investigation in Michigan, one of several battleground states targeted by America PAC. Every citizen should know exactly how their personal information is being used by PACs, especially if an entity is claiming it will help people register to vote in Michigan or any other state. A spokesman for the Michigan Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, told The Independent. The office is investigating the PAC's activities to determine if there have been any violations of state law. North Carolina's Board of Elections has also opened an investigation. It is a crime in that state to fail to submit voters' registration forms if they were told they were being signed up to vote. If you tell somebody they're being signed up to vote and they fill out the paperwork, in a lot of states it's illegal to not forward that on and get them registered, right? You lie to them and they think they're registered, so they show up and you don't have same-day registration, they can't vote. North Carolina's Board of Election has... Oh, I just read that. America PAC did not respond to the Independent's request for comment. It's unclear whether the stunt broke any campaign finance laws, but it's definitely shitty. According to Stetson University College of Law election law professor Sierra Torres Spilici, a fellow at the Brennan Center for Justice at NYU Law. Georgetown University policy professor Don Moynihan said that getting people's personal information on the promise of helping them to register to vote and then not helping them to register to vote definitely seems like election fraud. Hours after President Joe Biden ended his re-election campaign on July 21st, Twitter's AI chatbot Grok produced false information about deadlines for getting candidates' names on state ballots. These claims were reproduced across the platform. So their AI bot literally put out information that Kamala Harris could not be the nominee because she didn't get any votes and Joe Biden got them all. And just because he dropped out, she's not legally allowed. And some states' deadlines were already passed up and that she wouldn't be on the ballot in those states. That wasn't true. The false claims were reproduced across the platform. X delayed the correction for 10 days, even after the company had learned the information was wrong. On August 5th, secretaries of state from 5 states wrote a letter to Musk urging the company to immediately implement changes to X's AI chatbot and to redirect users to a nonpartisan voter information and registration website instead. As tens of millions of voters in the U.S. seek basic information about voting in this major election year, X has the responsibility to ensure all voters using your platform have access to guidance that reflects true and accurate information about their constitutional right to vote, they wrote. In another video, a voice that sounds nearly exactly like the vice president's plays over a video montage that looks nearly identical to an average campaign ad. It says, I, Kamala Harris, am your Democratic candidate for president because Joe Biden finally exposed his senility? I don't know how you say that. At the debate, he was senile at the debate. The voice says, I was selected because I'm the ultimate diversity hire. I'm a woman and a person of color. So if you criticize anything I say, you're both sexist and racist. Musk shared this AI video without saying that it was AI or whatever on his platform last month without noting that it's a parody until days later. He only wrote, this is amazing with a laughing emoji. X prohibits users from sharing synthetic, manipulated, or out-of-context media that may deceive or confuse people and lead to harm. That's their own terms of service. Their own terms of service says you can't share synthetic, manipulated, or out-of-context media that may deceive or confuse people and lead to harm. U.S. elections in 2020 were the last without easy-to-access AI tools like deepfake videos and chat GPT, a period that will likely be remembered as the beginning of the deepfake era in elections, according to Daniel Weiner and Lawrence Norden with Brennan Center for Justice at NYU School of Law, which has provided a framework for combating AI-assisted election disruption. Before Musk bought it, Twitter made some attempts to combat disinformation on the platform, but none of that is the case anymore, according to Adav Nadi, executive director of the Campaign Legal Center, a nonpartisan Democratic advocacy group. All the major social platforms are doing less, he told The Independent. And I think this is backlash over the last election cycle, or not the last one, but over 2020. This is backlash because now they're afraid to do anything because they may have withheld the they admit they withheld the Hunter Biden laptop story too long, thinking that it could have been fake or that it could have been made up by Russia. The Federal Election Commission can enforce a narrow set of rules about misrepresenting or pretending to be a candidate, and consumer protection and libel laws can be used to protect deepfaked people, but the current laws don't reach it very well at all. And this is because it's something new, right? It's brand new AI deepfakes, and our laws are not going to cover it the same way that laws took years and years and years and years to catch up with the internet. A group of senators have introduced legislation to protect individuals' voices and likeness from AI-generated replicas, but it's unlikely to move through Congress before Election Day. The FEC is also not expected to propose any new rules targeting AI and political advertising this year. Leave it up to tech companies, election officials, and the media to keep tabs on manipulated messages. Ahmed, with the Center for Countering Digital Hate, has suggested that federal officials lean on Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act to allow social media companies to be held liable in the same way as any newspaper, broadcaster, or business across America. Could you imagine if Fox News was purposefully sharing, or CNN was purposely sharing a deep fake of Trump killing a puppy and saying that it was real footage, or not telling you that it was fake footage? But the larger concerns from watchdog groups are threats to vote, counting, and certification. Major parts of the election process that have been targeted in our country in court by Trump's campaign and other right-wing legal groups to cast doubt on the legitimacy of the elections, they lost by invoking spurious claims of fraud and malfeasance. If we get a post-election period where candidates are trying to exploit those doubts that they themselves have seeded, as we saw in 2020, that's where it gets concerning. I think that Trump's already setting up, if he loses on election night or the next morning, he's already setting up the narrative, right? They don't even have people so with Biden, he said the guy didn't even campaign. He didn't go out for he was in his basement. How'd he get all the votes? Now that Harris is out campaigning and is showing up to gigantic crowds, they're claiming it's all AI. It's all fake. Nobody was there. There's no reflection. You can't tell. When in reality, the reason they're not seeing a reflection directly on the curved surface of the plane is because from the crowd, it looks like the crowd's really close to the plane, but they're actually back like 40 feet, right? And there's a row of cars or barriers or something blocking them off there. And you can see the barriers and the reflection in the plane. And we have this, because you can't judge the side of the plane, it looks like the crowd basically goes all the way up to the plane where you would see a reflection. Instead, they're back 30, 40 feet, a security perimeter, and you can't see a reflection of anything but the barriers or whatever they're standing behind. And they're using that to their benefit. Even Trump's sharing it as fake. Social media platforms could be actively promoting accurate and trustworthy information and clamping down on intentionally deceptive misinformation, but they're doing a horrendous job. Really just abysmal. Sometimes they say, well, we're going to combat the misinformation with accurate information, which I guess is better than nothing, but it's pretty weak sauce. That comes from the Center Against We're Combating Hate or whatever it is. I don't know. Going to be a wild election season, and if Trump doesn't win, it's going to get even fucking worse. I want you to listen to this guy that starts off. This guy, when he makes his statement, is it that Destiny's talking to or is listening to. When he makes his first statement, this is exactly how I feel, right? Like, I voted for Trump. Now I feel like I'm being lied and gaslit. He's manipulating his people. He knows how likely they are to believe a conspiracy. He knows how easy they are to manipulate. He knows that whatever he says, they're just going to repeat it and believe it. And he's using that to his benefit. So check out this. All right, I got audio now. Here you go.
Yeah, so against Hillary, he sounded like he knew what he was talking about more. Or maybe that's not true. I don't know. It just seemed like a big shakeup, and I was young, and he sounded like it was different, and we've had more of the same from Republicans.
What's up, Sage?
Trump would call them low energy, like McCain and Romney and George Bush, and we all have our issues with Bush. Stating out the obvious about like how we shouldn't have done that, and he criticized the Republican Party, which is kind of a fresh take in it. To me, it seemed like it was maybe a good idea to support this guy, but I got disillusioned with the media in 2016 to 2020 about like how we shouldn't have done that. I saw what happened on January 6th.
It's doubled up for just a second, but right, he got disillusioned after the stuff and the election and January 20th, and Destiny's arguing with a guy here in a second. I'll show you that clip too. The guy that still supports Trump admits that he knows Trump knows he lost, but he's playing this to his benefit. That's crazy, right? At least the people I argue with, they say, "Oh no, it was rigged. It was rigged. He's just trying to get it back." Bullshit.
And after that, I turned out taking it all to politics completely, and I just focused on my career. A good idea, but a couple of years after that, I started reading about January 6th, and what I found shocked me. And it's the evidence is very strong and clear that Trump used his base's cognitive biases and their willingness to believe in conspiracy theories because they have abandoned the media altogether. Which the media has its own problems, but they did do.
Which is wild, right? I always advise that you look at multiple media sources. Some of them do have bias, and sometimes their bias is clear, sometimes it's not so clear. But to just abandon the media completely and only listen to people like fucking Tim Pool or whoever your favorite creator is and say they are the media now. That's all I listen to. That's where I get all my news. Is just wild, because who the fuck is holding them accountable? Nobody.
They did have reporting that was strong, and Yeah, and Trump used his base to try to steal the election in 2020. And I can't believe nobody in my party, or I wouldn't say party, but nobody on the right, like, understands this. I don't know how, like, this is not like the most talked about topic in our country. And it pisses me off that right-wing news media chooses.
It's wild that Trump tried to steal the election while claiming that it was being stolen from him, and everybody pretends like it didn't fucking happen. He was so close to just in overthrowing the process and making himself the president, even though he lost.
Most talked about topic in our country, and it pisses me off that right-wing news media chooses not to talk about it. Fox News has been like in a few court cases, and they're coming up on a new court case about the elections fraud in 2020 with Smartmatic in 2025, and they're probably going to be found guilty. But nobody talks about that. Yeah, I'm pissed. I hate Trump with a passion now because I feel like I've been lied to, and yeah, I was made a fool, and I'm going to vote against him. And I would urge other Republicans to do the same, because he's not your friend. He lies to you all the damn time. He just posted a conspiracy theory about AI for Kamala Harris's rally, and we all know what that's going to do to our country, because in November, when he loses, there's going to be another January 6th.
So he's already setting it up that her crowds are fake, that everything about her's fake, that nobody's showing up. She can't get people to her. So the same way he set it up with Joe's in his basement, he doesn't have any, I've never met a supporter. He doesn't have any rallies. He's never been to a rally in 2020. He set, even because she's campaigning, he can't say the same thing, right? She's just sitting in the White House, not even campaigning, blah, 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 whatever, right? So now you saw it. Every photo they ever put was AI. It was fake. How many people you think actually voted for her? He's already setting it up.
And there's no limits on like what he's capable of, and I just don't understand how he's able to do it again. Sorry, I went on, but that's basically the gist of it.
No, I get that. I mean, a lot of people pull up the January 6th thing. Personally, I was for Trump, but more of like him being the generic, American guy that runs a business and everything else. So that was kind of like what I, kind of fell into. Nowadays, seeing him post about AI and stuff like that, it seems a little crazy. But when people bring up the January 6th thing, and this is something I kind of wanted Steven to speak on as well, is like, if you look at any kind of politician or any kind of streamer, it's like saying like Kai Cenat caused riots in New York or whatever. Like, I don't know, like people.
So he did. Kai did cause that, and he's young and he's dumb, and he told people to come meet him, right? And he has tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of fans. They all showed up. And shit got wild, right? Pushing and shoving, too small of a venue, no security set up, no police presence. He didn't warn anybody that he was coming. He just did it randomly. And he has to know he's too big to do that, right? He's young, dumb. I don't think he'll make that mistake again. He apologized for everything that happened, and he immediately come out and disavowed like all the violence and shit that happened. Trump wanted it to happen. Then he said, "We love you. You're special. Go home. We'll fix this." While he continued to say something very terrible's happened to us. Some say the most terrible thing that's ever happened. We know they stole it from. While he continues this lie.
Use January 6th as like, oh, he was calling to action a bunch of people, but it's like you're going to have dummies that like follow into that kind of stuff and take it too far. Even if you're having for instance, I live near Seattle and we had like the Chaz thing happen here. You're going to get dummies that fall into that, but I don't think like.
By the way, the guy who made the statement about January 6th and the news won't cover it, and none of the people just pretend like it didn't happen. He says at the end of the statement, I missed it. We've already passed that part, but he says. That he voted for Trump, but he'll be voting against Trump this year, and he thinks that other Republicans should.
Somebody saying something or slightly leaning into something means a call to action for everybody to just go do it, and that person to be blamed into it, because it just falls into the same thing as any other kind of influencer.
Yeah.
Well, I guess so. The thing is that it wasn't random. Trump held the rally on the 6th for a particular purpose.
Right. This wasn't Trump saying, "Show up in D.C. I'm giving away $1,000," and then everybody just showed up, right? He said, it's going to be wild. He called an army to D.C. And then he sat in his office for 187 minutes while people begged him to say something to stop the fighting with the police, the breaking into the 187 minutes. He sat there. The time he left the ellipse, we read this timeline the other day. The time he left the ellipse, they knew that the Capitol was having issues. They were having trouble controlling the crowd, that people were starting to breach the Capitol, and he waited over 3 hours and 7 minutes. 3 hours and 7 minutes to tell people to go home, thinking that potentially they could do something, right?
It was to protest the certification of the vote. He had people like Giuliani and Eastman speaking at the ellipse before him, saying that everything they were planning was legal, that they could get Pence to overturn the election. Donald Trump gave about an hour-long speech where he reiterated all the false voter fraud claims, said that we were on the verge of losing our country, said that we had to fight like hell to take our country back, was trying to get Pence and the other Republican lawmakers to come through. And then at the end of all of that, he sent everybody down to the Capitol where the restricted area had already been breached. And then people continued to riot at the Capitol. And then over the next 3 hours, Donald Trump did nothing except for call politicians to try to continue to delay the certification of the vote. So it could just be that people happen to do exactly what was beneficial to Trump and what he seemed to be calling them to do the entire time. And I don't think it's comparable to things like Chaz, because I don't remember any big Democratic lawmakers saying like, hey, you guys should go and, you know, like make your own, I guess, sovereign territory. And
Hold on just a second. All right. Anyway, sorry, I had to listen to something off the stream. Here you go.
Seattle, you guys should go and do this. Like, it's not like they were following orders from any big politicians.
What's up, Raid Flash Queen?
Yeah, but like that's what I mean on an influencer scale of maybe it was just a smaller scale with Chaz, right? But there had to be somebody there that started the whole thing and said like, hey, let's do this. And so the people within just that small, you know, it wasn't a national speaking or anything like that.
So people have been pointing out on Twitter today, Nick Fuentes, leader of the Groypers, the America First movement, Nick Fuentes was actually one of the people who was on an intercom saying, we're going in the Capitol, we're storming the Capitol, we're taking off the Capitol. He never got a single charge, right? They were talking about two people who obviously came out and said, we're storming the Capitol, we're doing this. One of them was Nick Fuentes, and the other was the old man they all call a Fed, whatever his name was. I can't remember it right now.
But there was a speech at some point within that local neighborhood that, you know, they went and started to take over the block that they had or whatever it was, and, you know, just start their little riots and their little hissy fits of what they were doing there.
Sure, like the president of the United States, doesn't he have a bigger responsibility for speech, and doesn't he have responsibility if he's calling his followers to an area and they end up committing acts of violence, then it's all kind of part of his ability or his plan to like delay the certification of the vote or cancel it?
Yeah, I do think that his speech, and that's a big reason of why I don't support him as much now as it was before, because the speech thing, like he knows that it gets the views and it gets people riled up, so he kind of uses that. But it kind of happens on both. I mean, this is the influential play, right? Like every influencer has their ways of getting their following to act in certain ways, whether that be with ads or whatever else that they're doing. Like it's just a part of the whole game nowadays. Like that's what this election feels like. Is it's a game.
What would be the equivalent on the Democratic side for this? Like, who on the Democratic side was calling people to go out and literally riot or destroy or try to prevent the election from being certified? Like,
I don't know, and I don't know if like that's gonna play. If for some reason like Trump wins, then maybe they play into that. But I don't have like a specific. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not too. I watch a lot of your videos, but I'm not very political. I don't. I haven't voted. Like I feel like voting between two bad options is not really like a good thing. Like I don't understand why we keep running into the same system where every year it's always an extreme left and an extreme right, and like the guy in the middle just gets left out. Because if I were to vote this year, it would probably be for RFK because he seems like the most reasonable in the middle person. You know, I don't know if that's just a play or like his con of what he's doing, but you know, I've never been extreme left or right. I feel like everybody has, you know, like some things on the left and like some things on.
I don't know if Nick Fuentes is playing some type of weird game. I've heard him go after like the current MAGA movement and the big names in that movement. I know he's personally banned from Mar-a-Lago, and it was a big thing that he was on that Kanye dinner, and Trump's like, I have no idea who that guy is. Well, whatever, right? I don't know if he's legitimately doing it or if he's like doing it pissy or if he's doing it as a joke. I don't know what he's doing.
On the right, and the extreme thing just plays into more and more of every single year, or every 4 years, like it just turning into this huge, just a media play.
My fan is from China. Thank you.
Is all it is, and an influential play.
But what are the? I don't think the Democrats are calling people to violence like this. I can't think of like leaders, like lawmakers, like people in media. Like there is no equivalent to Democrats saying we need to march on Congress and prevent the certification of the vote, or an equivalent Democrat like media company like the Dominion lawsuit where Fox News is saying we were knowingly lying about these voter fraud claims the entire time. We knew it.
Yeah, it was like 4 days ago. He was saying that there's going to be a new Groyper war, and they are going after Trump and his campaign now. I want to say that someone said Laura Loomer was with him now. Yeah, I don't know.
The whole time, and now we're going to settle because we're completely caught out. Like I don't think there's an equivalent on the left right now to that.
Yeah, no, right now I don't think there is.
No, don't you think that would have happened if Pence refused to certify the vote and did the whole scheme that everyone is convinced of that happened or was happening? Don't you think that it would?
I should be able to grab the video here. Hold on.
I say it? Dare I say it? I am declaring a new Groyper war against the Trump campaign until we can figure out what the hell is going on. I'm declaring a new Groyper war. You have alienated us. You have ignored us. You don't listen to our concerns. We have been left behind. The Trump movement and the GOP have moved on without us. It serves Israel and corporations and immigrants, but it doesn't serve Native Americans. What about Native Americans? What about Americans? What about young white men and others too? But what about us? Charlie Kirk is to the right of Trump on immigration. That's unacceptable. So I think it's time for another Groyper war. We're bigger, better, stronger than ever. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Rumble. This is a big live stream every night. We have allies, so I think it's time to up the ante a little bit. Joker 2 is premiering in October. Joker 2, 5-year anniversary. The show is back. We're opening the chest. I think it's time for Groyper War 2. And this time, we're going all out. Just this once.
So the Groyper War the first time was against
Energy.
Ben Shapiro and all these people who support Israel or were from Israel, and they showed up at all these speeches and Turning Points USA. And they would get up and ask questions about like the USS Liberty and shit like that.
It's just a question of whether they want to get on board or get out of the way. That's the question. But we will bring, the Groypers will bring the energy. Memes, edits, replies, trolls. Get with us or get the fuck out of the way. Groyper War 2 coming soon.
There you go. This was posted 5 days ago.
Would be quote unquote justified to storm the Capitol and prevent Pence from doing that?
Potentially.
Right. So if the populace believes that they are like part of some wrongdoing democratically, they can rise up and use force if they want to.
Yeah, but the issue is that,
Point blank.
yeah, I mean, as an American whose country was founded on insurrection and rebellion, of course I agree with that. But the issue is that they were rioting for a cause that was fabricated. It wasn't because Donald Trump legitimately thought there was voter fraud. It was because he wanted to remain in power.
Yeah, you'd have to prove that to that mob, though, which believed otherwise.
Yeah, but the mob believed it because Donald Trump told them and because his campaign worked.
Right. It's not that you have to prove that to that mob. No. Trump shouldn't have told that mob that. Right? He shouldn't have made them believe it in the first place.
With other people like Fox News, OAN, and Newsmax to spread the lie that there was voter fraud.
Yeah, but that's assuming Donald Trump knew he lied, right?
He did know he lied. He repeated the same statements that had been debunked by his attorney.
No, we don't know that.
We do, because he repeated the exact same statements over and over again that other people in his administration had told him over and over again were lies. They weren't true.
Right, but those were cronies. Like, those were like the rhinos you're talking about.
Okay, the rhinos got him.
Rhino?
Not Barr per se, but Barr was already a little shaky before that.
Okay, so Barr was shaky because he didn't want to go along with Trump's lie. What about Giuliani was the guy that originated the false Georgia claim about Ruby Freeman?
Yeah, he was a rat in court. We saw it.
Not just in court, but he admitted about the Ruby Freeman thing that he lied. He just lied about it. He made that up. The OAN news story, that was a lie. That was just made up.
Yeah, but we have no way of knowing that or verifying that now. I'm just saying, at the time, the populace believed it was a rigged election, right?
What, you keep saying the populace,
one leads to another.
The populace only believed it because Donald Trump was telling people that, even though every single person around Donald Trump was saying there's no evidence of this.
That's neither here nor there. I'm talking about at the moment, these people thought that, so it's completely justified. And actually very American, like you said, as to why they did that.
I'm not talking about, yeah, but I'm not talking about voting for the people for president. I'm talking about
yeah, but we can talk about January 6th. It's like, oh my God, it happened. Yeah, and it's understandable it happened, is what I'm saying. And we both agree.
Do we agree that Donald Trump should be held accountable for it?
If anyone, it's him, right? We have no way of knowing he's lying. The populace was, if you're right, the populace was misled. So what they did was not wrong. It was understandable, right?
Yeah, but the problem is there's no accountability now because the whole populace is denying that any of this even happened.
Right. We'd have to prove if Donald Trump was like knowingly lying about that, or if that was actually.
Rudy admitted he lied, but said it was his First Amendment right to lie. That was struck down. Trump didn't say whether he lied or told the truth or show any evidence at all. He just said, "I'm immune."
Scheme going on in the background, and we have no way of knowing that. Yeah. We act like we have the third eye in the Pentagon. We have no way of knowing that.
Well, we know that Donald Trump was repeating statements that every single person in his administration told him there was no evidence for, and that there were lies. We know that he asked the DOJ to lie for him. That's one of the reasons why Barr quit. And then his next attorney general and deputy attorney general almost ended up revolting because Donald Trump was saying he wants the DOJ to send out lie letters to states saying that they'd found evidence of voter fraud.
Wait, I've never heard these actually. I need to look up on this.
Wasn't that Jeremy Clark?
Well, Clark was the guy that he was going to appoint to spread the lie, but initially it was Barr that quit over this, and then the next two that came in, Rosen and Donahue, the acting AG and the acting deputy AG, Donald Trump asked them to send out a fake letter to the 7 swing states and say, hey, listen, tell these guys we found huge evidence of voter fraud, so they need to take back their electoral vote. And when they said no, Donald Trump was going to fire both of them and then make Clark the new attorney, who's the acting head of the environmental agency or something. And half the DOJ threatened to quit over this, and that was the reason why that ended up not happening. Donald Trump was given evidence he's a liar over and over and over.
Yeah, but
again.
if you know this, and people presumably know this already, why is this not a court thing? Why has this not been judged or whatever?
Well, now it's interesting you say that because what I just brought up right there is something that we will never hear about again because the Supreme Court has ruled that when the president of the United States is talking about hiring or firing certain people or doing certain investigations, now that's a job of the president that is absolutely immune from any type of criminal probe. So. So Robert's personally scratched out that action. Well, no, it's not ambiguous. We know that he was doing these things. This is all in testimony now. Nobody denies any of these things, but.
Yeah, but you just said we have no way of ever verifying this, even though we quote unquote know this. It's never going to go to court because the Supreme Court is on his side.
Well, no, I'm saying that in the future we'll never hear about these actions. But right now we know all of this has happened. Nobody denies any of this. There's tons of witnesses for all of this. This is just a known thing.
Yeah, but if this actually happened and we knew it for a fact, it would be criminal and it would be persecuted.
Well, it was part of a criminal prosecution. It was part of Jack Smith's large indictment.
Right, but it didn't go through, like you said, so that makes sense.
Okay, it's not going through right now, but that's because the Supreme Court has blocked the ability to criminally review it. We still know that it happened.
Right. Just because the Supreme Court says, well, you can't actually... he's immune to this. We still know it fucking happened. That doesn't mean he's innocent. When he says, another big win, well, one court said that for some reason, even though we've been appointing special counsel since 1900 this way, that now the special counsel is invalid. And the other court said that, well, he's immune to prosecution. So, big wins in court.
But we didn't go through the process properly still.
Do you think that Donald Trump didn't ask people to send out those letters?
We have no way of knowing. This is a whole logic tree. It's not one or two facts you're talking about. A whole scheme, so we have to review it one by one, in a judiciary process or whatever.
Well, I mean, these people that were involved in this have already given testimony under oath to Congress. What more do you need?
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's fine.
Okay, am I dumb for that?
Well, no, you just you know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I can say. This is all open testimony. Every Donahue, Clark, Pat Cipollone, every other person that was involved in these conversations have all testified to these. All of this is there. Nobody is saying that this hasn't happened. Nobody denies any of these things haven't happened. Barr was asked to make the same lie. It was the reason why he ended up giving a big interview to I think it was the Associated Press. And then Donald Trump got so mad that Donald Trump asked him. He told him, Barr basically said, "What? You want me to resign?" And then Trump was like, "Yeah." And then Barr left because Trump Trump was asking Barr to basically fabricate information. But Trump was going around saying the DOJ has found all this stuff that's not true about election fraud. And then Barr was like, this is not true. None of this is true. We haven't found any of this. You're lying. And then Barr gave an interview to the AP, and then Trump made Barr resign, basically. Yeah.
Right.
You can find all of this.
When Barr came out and said there was no significant election fraud, there was nothing that would change the results of the election, that the DOJ knew that they weren't planning on trying to stop anything, shut anything down, restrict anybody, take anybody's votes away. He said it would be un-American because there was no proof, evidence of anything. Then suddenly he was asked to step down.
Super easy by just searching January 6th committee hearing, and all of the documents are available to read for everybody listening. It goes
Were those
step
like
by
weird
step.
rhino Republicans making a website against Trump?
Okay, so weird rhino Republicans made it. Like, how many people can be against this guy? Just everybody's against him. Unless you suck his dick and never say anything opposite of what he says, never call him out on anything, never have a different opinion than he has.
Well, but definitionally, every single Republican that turns on Trump is going to be a rhino Republican. So that means that, and it's not like anybody loyal to
No,
Trump.
they're all like old fucks that did that, I think.
It's easy to discount the proof until you've read it. There's
Bunch of old
thousands
fucks that did it.
and there's stuff that you cannot, like, to fake the text messages between like staff at the White House, like that would be at the very top news of Fox News.
Yeah, but the whole thing is about a state of mind, and you're talking about allegations of a state of mind that hasn't been proven in court. So how am I supposed to take your word for that? That makes no sense.
Well, I mean, you don't have to take anybody's word for it. You just look at how the people are acting. What other state of mind could exist where Donald Trump is telling the DOJ to send out emails saying that they found evidence that they haven't found? That's just a lie. There is no state.
You think you have, the state of mind of a guy that is in the biggest position of power, but still being sabotaged in the background by like the shadow government?
Nobody's sabotaging him. Yeah, I think it's pretty easy when a guy is demanding that people send out emails that has a lie in it. That's a verifiable lie that everyone around him is telling is a lie.
You have no idea how many lies he deals with every day.
It doesn't matter. That was a lie. He asked them to send out an email that was a lie. Everybody told him it was a lie.
What email are you talking about specifically?
There was an email that Clark was going to send out that basically was telling the other states, hey, we found voter fraud, and he wanted to get the AG, the acting AG and the acting deputy AG to sign off on it, and they said, no, this is a lie. And then that ended up blowing up into a huge thing where Trump was about to fire the AG and deputy AG and make Clark the new attorney general to send out this fake letter. I can post a copy of it if you want. I don't know if there's like a chat here.
Yeah, I'm like, where can we post it? Like, you want to post it on Twitter or something?
Hold on 1 second.
Why didn't they do it though? Like, if all of this, like, why didn't he just do it?
Why didn't
Because the Department of Justice was threatening to the Department of Justice staff were threatening to quit if Trump put Jeremy Clark in to send this fake letter to the states.
So there may be tangible evidence that can tie all this up in a nice pretty bow, but I wouldn't take anything that the January 6th committee. So like that committee was a farce. I don't care what you say. This is coming from somebody who doesn't particularly like Trump, but that was a farce. That was trash.
Yeah, those were people already against Trump saying, yo, we're against Trump. Like, yeah, we get
Okay.
They played videos with.
They were already against Trump. And so what they did is they went back months beforehand and manipulated all these text message emails, internal documents, everybody that worked with him. Basically, everybody was there. They all did it.
Like cut out of it. Like that whole hearing was ridiculous. I'm sorry.
So let's well, real quick. Can you think of a single thing that came out of that committee that's been contradicted that ended up being not true?
Yeah, like the clips that they played were not full clips. Like they literally cut stuff out of the clips. You're saying what was a lie? A ton of it was a lie, and it was the whole committee was conjured up. Yeah, they played the clips of him at the rally saying we need to walk over the Capitol, and they intentionally cut out the part where he says peacefully and patriotically walk over the Capitol. They just cut it out of the speech like it never happened.
Just curious.
Like
wait, real quick.
That is absurd to me.
I posted a reply on my Twitter. If you go and you read the last thing I posted, it's that letter that that Clark wanted to send. Number one. Number two, how long do you think Trump's speech was at the Ellipse, approximately?
I want to get to the point where he admits that he knows that Trump's lying.
How long was the speech that he gave at the?
And he thinks it's just like a political thing because he wants his people, to support him.
At the Ellipse.
At the Capitol?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Another thing that
just focus on that one because he said it's a lie. I'm just curious. If you had a ballpark, if you had a guess, how long do you think that speech was?
Yeah, I'm not sure how long it was, but I know for a fact that he did say we need to peacefully and patriotically march over to the Capitol, and I'm going to come with you, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Well, hold on, just to be clear, he never said that, number one. But number two, if you had to guess, do you think it was closer to like 5 minutes or like an hour?
I would probably guess an hour. He tends to ramble. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the speech was like around an hour. He said, "I know you'll all be marching over peacefully." That was like, I think, like 20 minutes into the speech. The rest of the speech was about fighting like hell to take the country back, and that you were going to lose the country, and that we had to go.
I heard the same bit from Walter, from Schumer, and who's the, I can't think of her name. Who's like, you see him at a gas pump, you get in their faces. Like, it's the same kind of shit they all talk. Democrat, Republican, like. So you're gonna have to do better than that. If you're gonna say incitement, you're gonna have to do better than, oh, you're gonna have to fight like hell for your country, because that's not.
Okay, just back it up. I just looked it up. The entire video is 70 minutes and 52 seconds. So yeah, it's over an hour. It's not insignificant.
Yeah, I mean, Donald Trump said like a ton of different things in that speech. He reiterated all the.
Wait a second, hold on. It says the moment when Trump misreads the number of current listeners by 6,000%.
And by the way,
there's 1.1 million people watching.
And by the way, I'm looking at the numbers. You got a lot of people listening. I hope you don't get nervous, because you got a lot of people listening to you right now, like 60 million or something.
Allegations of voter fraud. He talked over and over again using fighting metaphors. We got to fight. You know, we've been fighting like a boxer with one arm tied behind our back. Before he went on, Giuliani came on and he said we need to do trial by combat. Like, do you think it's just a coincidence that all the people that marched over to the Capitol, that afterwards like a riot raged on for 3 hours? Or was that just
no? That was human nature.
How many people were there?
A small group of instigators, and then human nature people followed. That's how it goes.
How many people were at that rally?
Admitted, if it was a different scenario where Pence doesn't certify the election, it goes into chaos, and there's fucking Democrats at the door of the Capitol, then you would hear Destiny saying, "Oh well, actually, it's very understandable. We're Americans after all. We like to see democracy after all." And these people thought their democracy was being taken away. That's just how
we're being lied to. But people aren't even. People don't even own what just. Yeah. The proof is basically already out there.
How many people were at that rally? Like 100,000 people, something like that.
How many people were there? The reality.
Yeah, but you say that he incited violence, and how many people broke into the Capitol? Like 1,200. So 1.2% of the rally understood his call to violence, and 98% of them went home.
It's not like all of them could fit inside. Not all of them could fit inside. If Donald Trump didn't want them to go in and cause violence, why did he sit staring at his TV for 3 hours and not call them off?
If his like super secret messaging is so clear, why did 98% of the people misinterpret it and just go home? That's what I don't
know. You're saying misinterpreting. They did their mission. The goal was to delay the.
What do you mean? There were 100,000 people there, and like 1,200 of them went to the Capitol, and I think 700 of them actually got in, and only a few of them were actually charged with actual violence. Most of them just walked around.
Do you agree that they delayed the certification of the vote?
Yes.
Okay, so
I agree that they should be.
Mission, so they accomplished their mission, number one. Number two, okay, like, do you agree that Donald Trump sat and watched for 3 hours and did nothing?
I don't know if it was 3 hours before the tweet came out where he was.
Yeah, but where would he even get that number? Right? Why would he even say that? There's no way that he could possibly be monitoring everybody who was rebroadcast. Where would he even get 60 million from?
It's like everyone needs to go home.
Minutes. Yeah, it was about 3 hours, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Trump is.
By the way, we went back. I called the experts, the video experts, and had them check the original raw footage. Yes, he had a very, very heavy slur, even in his copy of the video. The experts have stated it. You can't dispute it anymore. Fact check this. Very heavy slur.
Wait, don't say I don't
Trump's
know.
an idiot. I'm not arguing that.
He's not an idiot, though. No one's
What's up, Nurse Julie? Didn't you get a new car? How's your new car doing?
saying he's an
yes,
idiot.
he is. Trump is a moron. Have you ever heard him ramble in speeches?
No, he wasn't being an idiot. He was being purposeful and intentional. He sat and he watched. He made phone calls to congressmen, encouraging them.
So now they're getting to the point where their defense is he's an idiot, right? He's an idiot. He just does shit like this because he's dumb. He knew exactly what he was doing. I think it's even more nefarious because he knows his people are dumb. He's done this, raised the temperature a little bit to bull a frog for so long, and they will believe anything he says, so he's just got to put it out there. If he just threw it out there and, 90% of his supporters were like, fuck it, he's just lying because he's stupid. Nope. They worship everything he says.
To delay the certification of the vote. He talked to Giuliani for 12 minutes, and then Giuliani made calls to congressmen, encouraging them to delay the certification of the vote. Like, why are we trying to make these weird excuses when, the whole plan is so out in the open and everything happened, just exactly as he wanted it to? There's no mystery here. Why do we have to invent, a weird mystery? He wanted to delay the certification. He was talking about it all morning. He'd been tweeting about it for weeks. He managed to delay it. He just couldn't get Pence to go along with
saying Pence better not let us down. He has to stand up. Pence has to stand up for America.
What?
Yeah, in my mind, none of that was ever plausible. Even if he thought that it could happen, it could never have happened.
It doesn't matter. No, you're saying that now because it ended up not working. But when is plausibility?
No, in what universe could it have worked?
If Pence wouldn't have certified the vote, nobody knows what would have happened.
Yeah, I don't even think it was within his power to not certify the vote. I mean, I remember the 4 years earlier when.
But Trump had a congressional fucking lawyer write to Pence repeatedly saying, this is what you need to do. Don't even give him a chance. Just skip over this. Don't let anybody talk. And once you bang that gavel, we've done it.
When all the Democrats stood up and said, this is a rigged election, whatever, and Biden finally had to put the gavel down and be like, it's over.
By the way, guys, Mariah's birthday's coming up. What should I get her for her birthday?
Okay.
Yeah, that never happened. Number one. And number two.
What do you mean? In 2016, when Trump won,
there was no
all the Democrats stood up and.
There was no
all the Democrats stood up and said, "We reject these. We reject this. This wasn't like a fair election. This was BS. You know, we reject him as president." And Biden finally, after like 3 hours of this shit, was like, "It's over. It's over."
Okay,
Trump
so
won.
big, like one issue you brought up previously is like you're implying the idea that at the January 6th Trump speech there was almost no turnout. Just because I was doing some research in the background, the actual New York Times puts the January 6th Trump speech at about 53,000 people on turnout, and the entire amount at the January 6th Capitol building riots is about 30,000. So imply that anyone turned up didn't happen. That's insane.
That is false.
This is the same way that I like to put religious people together. Basically give them whatever they're doing, but say that Islamic Muslim fundamentalists are doing it, and they always immediately hate it. Imagine that Donald Trump won in 2020, and there was like these weird questions about the vote, and some people that they're the right-wing boogeyman, Antifa, showed up and fucking kicked down the doors and stormed the Capitol and said they were going to fucking kill every Republican in there. They brought fucking gallows and tear gas and weapons and fought with the cop. Imagine how fucking pissed off they'd be. They'd want those people sent to Gitmo.
There were not 30,000 rioters at the Capitol. That is false.
Estimates for turnout to the whole thing put at 10 to 30,000. That is
10 to 30,000. What the heck kind of? That's false. I've seen the video.
30
Nowhere near that many people
entering the building between turnouts
You
and total.
can't stop talking over people. I'm gonna get other speakers to come on. You feel free to speak, but from what I've seen, it's 30 to 40,000 people outside of the Capitol, and then like 2,500 people that went inside the Capitol.
I've read a little bit less than that, but I know for a fact that definitely not 30,000 quote unquote rioters. There might have been people in the vicinity, but not charged, not violent.
Protesters? Would you accept the term protesters?
Protesters? I mean, how many protesters were there during the Summer of Love? What do you mean? I don't understand the relevance of that.
I guess it's just the interesting thing to me is that like the entire plan is laid bare for weeks. Donald Trump wants to do a giant riot on January 6th. He says it's going to be historic. Everybody agrees it's going to be historic. They're protesting the election. Hashtag stop the steal. Okay. Trump is talking about how they need to pressure Pence to come through for them. Okay. He holds his rally like a mile away from the Capitol. He sends them all to the Capitol afterwards. There's a massive break-in. Trump watches for 3 hours and does nothing. They delay the certification of the vote by I don't know, anywhere from 7 to 13 hours, depending on how you look at it. And to look at all of this and say all of this just happened to be an accident when everything seemed to go exactly as Trump wanted, except he couldn't get Pence to twist and bend to his will. I don't know how we can say it was all an accident. Like, it was all super intentional. It all happened from start to finish exactly as he wanted it to.
And when Trump had 3 hours to stop all of this by just sending out one tweet, like Ivanka Trump begged him just to add the word peaceful, but like he couldn't even do that.
Just say, go home. This isn't how we do this. Fight like hell, you're not going to have a country. Just say, go home. We didn't come here to do any of this. Go home. Nope, 3 hours. We love you. You're special. It's very hard. Nothing's ever been stolen from anybody, quite like it's been stolen from us. We understand. Get the fuck out of here.
That. For 3 hours, he did nothing, and he just waited while this whole thing happened, while he was in his dining room watching Fox News while it happened, and he was calling senators to like.
By the way, this just come across the desk. Hold on just a second. I don't think it's in English, but if you guys are looking for a good wrist mount for a GoPro camera, apparently she's doing a review for one. It's only 29 euros on Amazon right now. So see this wrist mount she's got? It's for like sports or a point of view, maybe a bicycle, or if you go swimming. This GoPro wrist mount right here. You can get that on Amazon. I probably got a code for it. If you If you want to use my Amazon link, I can get a link for it. See right there, GoPro goes right here. There's the screw, right? Just a standard GoPro mount. And riding a bicycle, jet ski, motorcycle. Maybe you mount up on a moose. Start riding it, a camel, whatever you might be riding, it mounts right to your wrist. Maybe you're gonna whip a nay-nay. It's right there on your wrist. Face it back towards you. You know, you can record yourself like Iron Man. Whatever you happen to hop on, there's the wrist camera for you in case you need it. In case you need a wrist mount for a GoPro style camera. Double Velcro, front and back, double stitched, ripstop fabric, plastic mount, metal threads, just like the quality ones are. You could have an amazing time on your next vacation, hiking trip, family outing, maybe a picnic. You can do point of view, like if you're in the refrigerator getting something to eat, you can see right there. Record your groceries in case you're going to the store. What do you need? What do you need it for? It's there. Sorry, I have to pay the advertisers. The show's not doing so hot. Gotta get the advertisers in.
Force them to like switch their vote, or have it like stopped.
My hot take is Donald Trump is too incompetent to actually oversee his own insurrection, and America's thankful for that.
Okay, hold on. You say that, but he was doing everything he needed to the entire time. They had a...
Dude, you guys better be glad I don't have a vagina. You want to talk about some viral fucking videos.
BS legal theory that was completely crafted out. They'd already falsified 7 different slates of...
Mariah gets mad when I put my dick on the internet.
Electors that they were desperately trying to get to Pence. They were already pressuring Pence through the media, through the administration, and then later on through the speeches that they were given during the ellipse. He had called all those people to January 6th, to the Capitol in order to go and protest. Like, he'd done all the things that he needed to. It was just at the very end, Pence ended up flipping.
Stephen, I wasn't arguing that he didn't try and put everything in motion. I was just saying at the very end, he's a coward who couldn't follow through with his own insurrection. I wasn't arguing with you on that.
Sure. Sometimes I feel like people treat him a little bit too much with baby gloves. Where like I think if he had another shot at it, I think he would choose people. Like I think he chose Vance because Vance said he would have gone through with the January 6th plot. I do agree he's a coward, but yeah.
Oh yeah, well that's the issue. Okay, obviously not American. You can hear in the accent. That's the issue I have with Donald Trump. I feel like any other person or politician in all of human history would be treated with any level of severity and criticism in regards to anything they do. But it feels like Donald Trump, Republicans, and conservatives have this side moment where every single action he takes is just, oh well, that's just Trump. He's just that idiot weirdo on the sidelines, and we excuse every weird action. And why,
just excuse him.
The American system has its own issues on that, but why is there no social unification on what the fuck is this guy doing?
The Trump sycophants are too strong. There was an attempt to get him out, but we couldn't do it.
Hey, Ryan.
Yeah.
Yo, how's it going? Sorry, I couldn't make today. I tweeted that earlier before. I just have to babysit. I have to pick up my niece, but I don't know how long I have. But I just want to ask you, because recently you said if he had at least sent out a tweet for a peaceful... I know the tweet at, I think it was like 12 on January 6th, when Trump did tweet out, remain peaceful, respect our men and women in blue. Did that not count?
Are you talking about the 187 minutes or beforehand?
No, this was around like 12 p.m.
Stephen, I know you have like a list of all the tweets. And
the point, and look,
wait, hold on, wait. I just want to be super clear on this. So the tweet that, if you're talking about the tweet where Donald Trump tweets out and says, "Please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful." That tweet was sent out at 2:38 p.m. There was
another one. I'm asking everyone in the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful, no violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order.
That one was done later. That was at 3:13 p.m.
That was done at 12:13.
12:13 PST.
Correct.
So that's California time, so it would be 3 hours after. That's in EST, yeah.
When my time would reflect, let me see. I'm trying to see if there's an image or if it was like a live post. So, like the image-wise, I agree with what you're saying. By the way, when you talk.
Here you go. I'll do this. I got you, bros. Every tweet from Donald Trump on January 6th. 2:45 a.m. Jim Jordan. Retweet. For 9 weeks, Democrats have been afraid to have a real debate on election integrity. Why? 2:59 a.m. Big news in Pennsylvania. Then it links to something. It says, APP note, this link was removed after being diverted by someone. January 6th, 3:28 a.m. Looks like they're setting up a big voter dump against the Republican candidates, waiting to see how many votes they need. Just happened, this is at 5:08 a.m. Just happened to have found another 4,000 ballots from Fulton County. Here we go. 5:16 a.m. from retweeting Kayleigh McEnany. Why are they stopping the vote count in Democrat Chatham County, Georgia? This sounds familiar. Because there was this was because there was that runoff election going, right? I'm assuming. Unless he's retweeting old shit. Retweet from Tommy Lauren. The steal is in the making in Georgia. Wait for it. Retweeting Tommy Lauren. Democrats scrounging up votes from mystical places again. Retweet Tommy Lauren. These are all at 5 a.m. I wonder when the water main is going to burst in Georgia. 5:43 a.m. Get smart, Republicans. Fight. 5:46 a.m. Christina Bobb retweet. Pennsylvania is going Trump. The legislators have spoken. 5:47 a.m. Retweet Dan Scavino. Wow, we hear from you, West Virginia. Or I'm sorry, we hear from. Sorry. 5:47 a.m. Retweeted Dan Scavino. Wow, we hear you from the Western Wing. 6 o'clock. If Vice President Mike Pence comes through for us, we will win the presidency. Many states want to decertify the mistake they made in certifying incorrect and even fraudulent numbers in a process not approved by the state legislatures, which it must be. Mike can send it back. That was the big Mike Pence tweet at 6 a.m. that morning. Then he doesn't tweet again until 1:06, and it said, "Sleepy eyes, Chuck Todd is so happy with fake voter tabulation process that he can't even get the words out straight. Sad to watch." 1:17 p.m. States want to correct their votes, which they now know were based on irregularities and fraud, plus corrupt processes never received legislative approval. All Mike Pence has to do is send them back to the states, and we win. Do it, Mike. This is time for an extreme courage. 1:22 p.m. The Republican Party and, more importantly, our country needs the presidency more than ever before. The power of the veto. Stay strong. 2 o'clock. They just happened to find 50,000 ballots last night. The USA is embarrassed by fools. Our election process is worse than that of third world countries. 2:15. The states want to redo their votes. They found out they voted on fraud. Legislatures never approved. Let them do it. Be strong. 2:16. Even Mexico uses voter ID. Hold on. So they overran the police at 1 o'clock, basically. At 1 o'clock, they overran the perimeter at the Capitol building. So this is well past that. At 2:16, he says even Mexico uses voter ID. At 3:44, the scoundrels are only toying with the at Senator David Perdue, a great guy, vote. Just didn't want to announce quite yet. They've got as many ballots as necessary. Rigged election. He just tweets a link to something. At 7:24, Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones, which they were asked to previously certify. USA demands truth. At 7:38 p.m., please support our Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful. That's showing us 7:38 at night. Am I in the right time zone? No, I'm 4 hours the wrong way. I'm asking for everyone in the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful and no violence. Remember, we are the party of law and order. Respect. What are these timestamps then? Okay, these are 5 hours ahead. So let me go back. So it says subtract 5 hours for Eastern time. Here we go. So at midnight, a lot of these were at midnight. Then at 1 a.m. Now we're talking about at 8 a.m. At 8 a.m. Sleepy Eyes Chuck Todd is so happy the fake voter tabulation process that he can't even get the words out straight. Sad to watch. 1:17 p.m. I'm sorry. Damn it. I'm going to fuck this up. 8:17 a.m. 8:17 a.m. States want to correct their votes, which they know were based on irregularities and fraud, plus corrupt processes never received legislative approval. All Mike Pence has to do is send them back to the states, and we will win. Do it, Mike. This is time for extreme courage. 8:22 a.m. The Republican Party, and more importantly, our country, needs the presidency more than ever before. The power of the veto. Stay strong. That was 8. This is at 9 a.m. then. At 9 a.m., he says they just happened to find 50,000 ballots last night. The USA is embarrassed by fools. Our election process is worse than that in third world countries. 9:15 a.m. The states want to redo their votes. They found out they voted on fraud. Legislatures never approved. Let them be strong. Let them do it. Be strong. 9:16 a.m. Even Mexico uses voter IDs. This would be 10:44. These scoundrels are only toying with Senator David Perdue. Great guy. Vote. Just didn't want to announce quite yet. They've got as many ballots as are necessary. Rigged election. That was at 9 o'clock in the morning. At 1:50, he retweets the video. At 2:24, he says Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states so this is long after this is why they're in the Capitol. Giving states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones, which they were asked to previously certify. USA demands the truth. At 2:38 p.m., please support our Capitol Police. At 2:38 p.m. At 3:13, I'm asking for everyone at the Capitol to remain peaceful, no violence. Remember, we're the party of law and order, respect. This is at 3 o'clock, at 3 p.m. Like everything happened at fucking 1 and 2. What are you doing at 3 p.m.? He retweets something, and then he says, what time would this be? Let me do the math. At 6, this would be at 6:01 p.m. These are the things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from great patriots who have been badly. This is what happens. This is what you get. He's not even fucking sorry. He doesn't think he did anything wrong. He knows he's lying, and he's like, this is what you get when you cheat me. And he knows he's lying. These are the things and events that happen when a sacred landslide election victory is so unceremoniously and viciously stripped away from great patriots who have been badly and unfairly treated for so long. Go home with love and in peace. Remember this day forever. What a fucking piece of shit, dude.
About the fake letters sent out and everything, but wouldn't that be after the fact that in that?
It's because UTC, they instead of putting them in Eastern time, where I guess some people wouldn't understand it, they made everything UTC time. That's why I was out.
Moment, especially with the ballots, especially with the votes. Oh my God, jump for votes for Biden. What the heck? This election is stolen. If they truly believe that, would there not be some course to take if that's truly what he believed, even though people would say otherwise? It's not until afterwards where court's dismissed.
This is what I would say. I think that there might be an argument to be had there, but then what we're saying is there was a reason to launch a coup/insurrection, and then we can go that route. But you can't. Not you. I'm sorry. I'm saying you. You can't. Not you personally. Sorry. One can't deny that an insurrection ever happened, and then say, well, but maybe it happened because there was a really good reason to have an insurrection.
So let me ask you. So it was the insurrection. Is Donald Trump the one who did this insurrection, or was it the people on January 6th? Is what I want to differentiate.
I think that he led it. He instigated it, and he led it to work to further the coup.
So even though he said, "Okay, guys, remain peaceful," that tweet was taken down. Most people there,
we keep saying
was nonviolent.
He gave an
at 3 something, right? At 3, he could have said that as soon as they overrun the outer perimeter, and no one would have ever breached. If he would have made an announcement and told people to fucking go home, there's a astronomical chance that no one would ever breach the Capitol or spent 2.5 hours fighting with the police to get in the Capitol. Right? When they first breached the bike racks they had set up as like an outer perimeter, immediately he should have addressed it.
over an hour long. He gave an over hour-long speech. At one point in the beginning-ish of that speech, I think the first 20 minutes, he says, "I know you'll be remaining peaceful." Okay. He says that one time. He mentions fighting and pressuring Pence and vote fraud for the entire rest of the speech.
Who doesn't say that? That interpretation is very different. I've heard that. Look, I used to watch, the only news I actually used to watch was all like CNN and stuff like that. And that's all the like talk I've heard.
I have never in my life, and I'm pretty confident that you can't cite a Democratic politician saying that we need to go and fight like hell, and then immediately afterwards people march to a government building.
There are tons of examples of that.
Name one.
Tons of examples of that. Tons. Name one.
Up and punch him in the face.
But she's not talking. She's not talking to
literally talking violently. But you're saying they would never like even as a.
He said, you can't show me an example of someone saying that, and they immediately go to a government building and try to overthrow the government.
Metaphor say we must fight for our country. We must fight to end to bring democracy.
Number one, these people haven't backed it up with months of allegations of voter fraud that are unsubstantiated. Two, they're not speaking to a crowd. Two, they're not talking to a crowd of people that are ready to go and riot. And number three, this isn't working in conjunction with an attempted coup that he's already got planned out that he's been working through the entire time.
If you think attempted coup was on everybody's mindset exactly in the Capitol,
it was.
That was a pretty failed coup. If you're talking about they got a pressure thing, and most everybody that went was unarmed. Most people respected the Capitol. Most people who even went in and walked out got 5 years.
Didn't we find out that the Oath Keepers had so someone asked Destiny the other day about weapons, and he's like, and the guy, it was Rob Norton, he's like, well, how many weapons are there? And when they're like, well, we don't know, but a lot of people wouldn't come to the magnetometers that the Secret Service, and they had already spotted people with multiple weapons, and they wouldn't come through because, and the Secret Service just assumed that they had weapons, or a large amount of people had weapons. But didn't we find out that the Oath Keepers, just like a 5-minute drive out of D.C., had like a hotel room like stashed with weapons and like a QRF force like ready to call them up? So they came expecting this violence to overthrow the government. Why else would they have a hotel room with people they were talking to on the radio like stacked full of fucking weapons? They 100% came to do that. 100% knew that they would need a cache of fucking weapons.
In prison. I don't understand where. Here's the thing. What I don't understand. This is what I don't understand. I'm not a fan of Trump. He wasn't my first pick. What I don't understand is why people don't remain consistent. What I mean about consistency.
Wait, no, not that. No. Hold on. I know that Republicans love to pivot to the amorphous BLM things. One topic. We can do a thing on BLM like riots or whatever you want. I'm not here to defend BLM riots. But it is a totally disanalogous thing when we talk about a president that's been lying to the country for months, that's been trying to maintain power, that falsified electors coming from states, that encouraged people to go and riot at the Capitol, and that sat by for 3 hours and an absolute dereliction of duty and watched after Ashley Babbitt got shot, after everybody's begging him to tweet and tell people to stop.
And he still says nobody died. January 6th, they try to make it like this big thing. Nobody died. Even if you don't want us to talk about the cops. 1 died of injuries sustained that day, 2 from suicide. Even if you don't want to talk about the cops, what about Ashley Babbitt? She went there because you told her to. And she absolutely fucking died. Nobody died.
There's 50 million different people. Fox hosts, his own son, his own daughter are tweeting and texting and begging him, like, please tell father to call these people off, and he's not doing it all. Why? There's
5, but I don't think people count the meth overdose lady. So is Ashley Babbitt, another woman that they claim she was trampled to death or tear gassed to death by the cops, but she actually had a meth overdose when they did the autopsy. 1 cop sustained injuries where he died. 2 more committed suicide almost immediately after all this happened.
No comparable situation here to a Democratic leader ever. There's nothing. Whoopi Goldberg saying something on The View is not comparable to this.
No, I'm not saying comparable. I'm saying that what you said is understandable. Yes, if there's people, Trump was at a position of, if he called upon all his supporters, right, and they're there and he says, sorry everybody, you guys overdid it, everybody go home immediately after, he'd probably lose those supporters. He would look like, he was in a position where I understand if he had to.
Oh, he can't lose his supporters, right? It would be bad if he said, sorry guys, there's nothing we can do, go home. He might lose those supporters. So instead, we're going to break into the fucking Capitol while talking about how we're going to kill the police and politicians inside. Don't want to lose those voters.
Kind of be more, I guess, forward-pushing with his language and everything, sure. If you want to argue...
Yeah, we just had to look it up the other day. I don't think I'm lying. That the woman who they claim was probably possibly trampled to death or killed by cops using some type of force against her, that the autopsy come back and it was an amphetamine overdose, right?
Oh, it took him too long. Sure, I understand that. What I'm saying, what I'm
wait, just real quick, you can say your point, but because you're summarizing mine so ridiculously. If you want to say that he could have done something, no. Donald Trump was the guy. He was the head chain. He was the commander in chief, and he was the guy ultimately that could, at any point in time, pick up the phone and call to end what was happening at the Capitol. He could have made a tweet, or he could have called the National Guard. He had the power to do both of those, and he didn't for 3 hours.
No one else could have done anything, is what you're saying. Even when Pelosi said, "Oh, why didn't from the beginning people expect, maybe a bigger turnout or something and be prepared for it?" Where she even took responsibility of that. And
because nobody knew what the Oath Keepers were planning. Nobody knew what the Proud Boys were planning, and
Was protester Rose Bullen crushed to death during the events of January 6th. Criticizing inaccurate initial reports of the cause of Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick's death, Haas then attempted to counter the narrative that pro-Trump supporters were the ones causing the violence on January 6th. In fact, it was Trump supporters who lost their lives that day, not Trump supporters who were taking the lives of others, Haas said. Haas went on to list the 4 others who died following the events of January 6th, including 34-year-old Roseanne Boyland, Kennesaw, Georgia. While initial reports claimed that Boyland had been crushed to death amongst the crowd of the Capitol Police, the D.C. medical examiner ultimately ruled the cause of death was an amphetamine overdose. So it basically, her fucking heart exploded. It pumped till it couldn't. So the actual cause of death was an amphetamine overdose. And she may have collapsed and been stepped on or whatever, but the cause of death was an amphetamine overdose.
Nobody knew that Donald Trump was going to rile people up and send them to the Capitol afterwards.
So you're telling me,
and Pelosi's not the president.
The government, the Capitol, they couldn't possibly prepare a little bit more for a coup that was about to take a secret insurrection that was about to take place on our U.S. Capitol. They were just like, you know what? On one hand, this is an insurrection that's so bad they compared it to Pearl Harbor and 9/11. CNN anchors that break down fake crime as to play up the severity of January 6th. You're telling me that's how severe this day was, but at the same time, the government was like, it's probably not a big deal. We'll just have a couple of police officers chilling, and then afterwards.
Accidental acute amphetamine intoxication was the actual ruling.
We'll tell everybody to go home after some violent. Oh yeah, our bad. But
nobody knew.
A couple more people that were armed. Yeah, they would completely.
Nobody knew.
Everybody would be dead inside.
You can keep. You're just repeating the same talking point over and over again. Nobody knew that there were going to be coordinated groups there to do break-ins, like the Proud Boys did initially, and nobody knew that Donald Trump was going to send all of his people over to the White House. Okay, number 2, and then number 3, nobody.
We can deploy an aircraft carrier in 30 minutes. How long did it take for people to be like, oh, this is getting a little out of hand? Maybe we need to call in some more National Guard, which Pelosi took responsibility of as well.
Pelosi can't take responsibility of the National Guard. She's not in the chain of command for that at all. That's just not true.
She said, "Oh, we thought it was sufficient enough, but they didn't know, and clearly, nobody knew. And I take responsibility for them just not having prepared more," is what she said. We have responsibility, and she was upset about that.
Sure, they're trying to balance out. They're trying to balance out the view, because some people, believe it or not, I know that the Trump guys don't, but some people do care about what democracy looks like and what voting looks like in this country. And the idea of having the National Guard there, standing shoulder to shoulder with rifles, as the vote is being counted, is that's an appearance that the United States of America doesn't really like to give to its voters. It's a very spooky appearance, and that was the thing they were trying to avoid at the beginning. Now, obviously, in retrospect, we see that. I know. For those of us who care about democracy, it kind of matters. In retrospect, you could argue that it maybe
that is a bad look.
Coordinated groups.
No matter what you say, that is a fucking bad look, right? That they're in there counting the votes. They're being protected by, an armed army. I didn't think anybody in their right mind would think, of all things, that Trump would tell people not to break into the fucking Capitol and try to kill people. Or at least I would. I never thought that he'd react the way he did.
That were going to be trying to break through into the Capitol that day. Nobody was in the Proud Boys signal groups. Nobody knew that the Oath Keepers were, nobody knew that these groups were coordinating and planning in advance to break in.
Except Michael Flynn and Roger Stone, Trump's friends, which were in the crowd that day and with the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers the night before. But nobody's going to mention that. Rob, I know you're on the attack mode here, but can you defend the 187 minutes Trump did not act? People were breaking in, people were chanting, people in White House staff knew.
The Willard Hotel was their command center for the effort to stop the Biden presidency. Yes, they had a room in the Willard Hotel where his most loyal people are working for fucking weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks trying to stop this. It says they called it the command center, a set of rooms and suites in the posh Willard Hotel, a block from the White House, where some President Trump's most loyal lieutenants were working day and night with one goal in mind: overturning the results of the 2020 election. The Jan 6 rally on the Ellipse and the ensuing attack on the Capitol by a pro-Trump mob would draw the world's attention to the quest to physically block Congress from affirming Joe Biden's victory. Excuse me. But the activities of Willard that week add to an emerging picture of a less visible effort mapped out in memos by a conservative pro-Trump legal scholar and pursued by a team of presidential advisors and lawyers seeking to pull off what they claim was a legal strategy to reinstate Trump for a second term. They were led by Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. Former chief White House strategist Stephen Bannon was an occasional presence as the effort's senior political advisor. Former New York City Police Commissioner Bernard Kerik was there as an investigator. Also present was John Eastman, the scholar who outlined scenarios for denying Biden the presidency in the Oval Office, meeting on January 4th with Trump and Vice President Mike Pence. Trump told Meadows to call Roger Stone and Mike Flynn the day before Capitol attack for some strange reason. Stone, a former Trump advisor, has ties to the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, extremist groups who were present during the Capitol attack. In testimony to the Jan 6 committee, former Mark Meadows aide Cassidy Hutchinson testified that the president had the chief of staff call political operative Roger Stone and General Mike Flynn the day before the Capitol attack.
Ms. Hutchinson, is it your understanding that President Trump asked Mark Meadows to speak with Roger Stone and General Flynn on January 5th?
That's correct. That is my understanding.
And Ms. Hutchinson, is it your understanding that Mr. Meadows called Mr. Stone on the 5th?
I'm under the impression that Mr. Meadows did complete both a call to Mr. Stone and General Flynn the evening of the 5th.
The story cuts off here, but I want to read the rest of it. So give me just a second to unlock this. Hutchinson testified that Meadows had been instructed by the Trump the night of January 5th to call Stone and Flynn, and that it was her understanding that Meadows completed those calls. Hutchinson added that Meadows wanted to go to the War Room, established by Rudy Giuliani and John Eastman, established in D.C., Willard Hotel, in the lead up to January 6th. Stone, a veteran of electoral rioting, has been investigated for his ties to extremist groups present at the Capitol attack, including the Proud Boys. Stone traveled to D.C. in the company of members of the extremist group, the Oath Keepers, who allegedly acted as security for Stone. Stone was seen in the company of a member of the group hours before the man was photographed with protesters on the eastern side of the Capitol. General Flynn is one of several Trump loyalists who have attempted to sue the January 6th committee to halt the enforcement of a subpoena against him. The committee requested to speak to Flynn regarding a December 2020 meeting in which Trump, Flynn, and other Trump allies discussed the possibility of seizing voting machines or declaring a national emergency. By the way, that the fact that martial law was on the table blows my fucking mind. Seizing voting machines, declaring a national emergency in an attempt to prevent Trump's election loss. Flynn, a former national security advisor to President Trump, received a pardon from the former president in November 2020 after pleading guilty to lying to the FBI. So no one knows really what happened other than they were both called in for some reason on January 5th.
They were saying hang Mike Pence in the middle of 187 minutes. Why didn't Trump do anything? Why didn't he stop it?
Who's going to like send out a tweet saying go home?
He did do that, yes.
He did do that. That's what I'm saying. You wanted him to do that earlier?
Yes.
Why did he wait?
That I agree. I'm like,
he was watching it live on Fox News.
In his position, with how the whole thing pretty much came forth, yes, there was that lack of time where, he probably should have done it earlier.
For that.
I'm not defending that.
You condemn him.
Yeah, I'm not defending that.
So, I have a question.
Is that a yes, you condemn him for his lack of candor and protecting? Or sorry, lack of responsibility and protecting?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Say that one more time.
You condemn him for the dereliction of duty, that he had a duty as the president of the United States, he had a duty as the commander-in-chief and head of the Federal National Guard to do something, and he didn't. He stood by and he watched. He made tweets after Ashley Babbitt had already been shot. He made tweets not telling people to leave, right? That tweet of I'm asking for everyone at the U.S. Capitol to remain peaceful, no violence. Why is he telling them to remain? He made that tweet at 3:13 p.m. No, he made that tweet at 3:13 p.m. That was 2.5 hours after the restricted grounds had already been breached. It was an hour after the Capitol building had already been broken into. It was 30 minutes after Ashley Babbitt had already been shot. All of this had been reported.
30 minutes after Babbitt's been shot. Remain peaceful like you have been.
Trump. Why is he making tweets telling people to remain peaceful there? Why wouldn't he tell them to go home?
Yeah, I think it's because of his supporters.
Okay, so do you condemn him for his dereliction of duty there?
Yeah,
Okay.
That's not my problem. It's really not my problem at all. Because look,
it should be your problem. How is it not your problem?
Oh no, I'm not. Okay, it's a problem. Let me rephrase. It's a problem. It's not exactly the point I'm trying to make.
Isn't it disqualifying for an executive, for the chief executive? Isn't that a disqualifying? You just condemned him for dereliction of duty.
What are you talking about? Say it again.
Isn't it disqualifying? Isn't it preclusive? Isn't it immoral to advocate someone who has such a humongous dereliction of duty that they allow something like that?
Dude, I think they would have. If this is the problem I have, I'm saying it again. I'm saying if.
By the way, the guy that Destiny debated the other day that used AI, his name is Rob Noor, and his claim was that no Democrat ever called the BLM riots or the Summer of Love or all this shit, insurrection. Then come to find out that he actually did, like multiple people did, including himself on Twitter, called it an insurrection after he claimed that no one's ever called anything an insurrection before until Trump gets there. Turns out he himself had done it, as well as a bunch of right-wing people had.
I don't know exactly.
Yes
like,
or no?
He just sat in the room.
Is it disqualifying?
Say disqualifying for what?
Yeah, hours after it was all over. That's the problem. We love you. You're special. Go home. He said this as people was already leaving. There'd already been people fucking shot.
Yeah, for the office of presidency.
I mean, he wasn't.
I'm legally, just like in your mind. In your own mind, as a man.
I can say it again, sorry.
Isn't it disqualifying, in your own estimation, whatever that is, that you as a man should vote for this person?
Depending on the circumstances, now that's a little different. Because then I would rephrase that question to you. If Trump, say he wins the presidency right now, right? What I want to see, I literally, I'm wondering if the goalposts are going to be moved, if the media is going to talk about something else. If Trump wins the presidency, apparently what's supposed to happen? This is what I'm banking on, just because my entire life this is all I've heard, right? What's supposed to happen is 1, he's going to become a dictator since day 1. 2, he's a fascist, and it's going to be.
What does any of this have to do with any of
3, he's not going to. He's going to remain in power past 4 years. These are 3 things.
He tried.
In everybody's face.
None of this has to do with anything. No, it doesn't. He's already done. The conduct that he's exhibited is already disqualifying, right? Like, he's already done on J6 in those 3 hours what you guys would accuse Biden of doing by being senile, of falling asleep somewhere for 3 hours while the Capitol burns, okay? And he's failing in his duty to either send out a tweet to his followers and go home, or make a phone call and say, I don't know what the is going on, but the National Guard needs to be at my Capitol building right now. I'm the President of the United States. This is my territory. The Commander-in-Chief of the military is one of my most important jobs.
So you know for sure when Trump said that he offered the National Guard when things got out of hand, that was a no-go?
He did not offer the National Guard when things got out of hand. That is a lie. That's not true.
It just couldn't be done.
He offered them beforehand.
No, he didn't offer them beforehand. He brought them up awkwardly in a conversation with Miller saying, maybe we need 10,000 National Guard to protect my people while they go protest. It was never a...
Right. And they can't show this. They can't prove it. It was a verbal conversation where he thinks he said offhand, maybe we should have the National Guard there. Maybe we should run that by, the people at the Capitol. And nothing ever happened from it.
Serious request. It was never put in through formal channels. It came up in a conversation once. That's
so why not? No one else could have done that?
Because people didn't know what would happen. People didn't know that the Proud Boys were organizing covertly. Nobody knew
that Proud Boys was like a...
He knew it would happen. That's about it.
40,000 per person militia that was armed to the brim.
They didn't know. There was
100,000 militias.
You don't need 100,000 militias. We have video. The first people that broke through the restricted area were Proud Boys. It's on video. The first people that broke into the Capitol building were Proud Boys. It's on video.
You keep saying we're Proud Boys. My whole point is, did you not see these Proud Boys are an unstoppable force of the United States government?
They don't have to be an unstoppable force. Hasn't it been conservatives that have said over and over again, 3%? You only need a small percentage of people to do anything? What do you mean? Do you think in a BLM riot, if you go to a BLM riot and there's like 10,000 people, how many people are there actually rioting? You know it's not all 10,000, right?
Okay. Yes.
So it's possible that without the Proud Boys being organized and doing those initial breaches, maybe it literally would have just been a protest where people got rowdy.
So how many Proud Boys you said was in the video breaching?
I think it was 1 to 300 showed up total.
That's kind of my point. That's what I'm talking about.
What is your point?
I don't understand where, look, what I don't like, right? So if Trump said something, oh, by the way, we went campaigning in California and this, and it was a lie, I'm like, that's a freaking lie. He's just trying to like showboat or get people together, whatever. It's only being lied, right? If something's not really conclusive, there's a whole realm too about this administration and people around this administration where nothing from what I see is even conclusive to them. They've been lying every other day. I hear a blatant lie. There was lies I didn't want to even believe, even straight from CNN, where I'm like, oh, they wouldn't lie about that. I didn't believe.
What are you talking about? Are we talking about a specific thing here? I mean, you want to take
let's take January 6th.
Yeah, let's take a specific statement. Let's talk about Trump real quick. So get past the statement, right? I just want to be clear on this one statement about
a couple hundred Proud Boys. Biden and the entire left.
We're not talking about Biden. We're talking about Trump.
They don't come out and say there's no such thing as having guns because you fear a tyrannical government. No one's going to come, knocking on your door and taking away your guns, and you can't protect yourself from because guess what? You need F-16s and tanks to take on the government. But this guy's saying, 300 Proud Boys. Oh, they weren't prepared for that, guys.
Let's take one statement of Trump's on January 6th. Forget about the ellipse for a moment, right? Just imagine that I agree with your farcical interpretation of that speech, but put it aside for just one moment. You agree, because you cannot deny that by 2:11 o'clock p.m. Capitol had been breached. Okay, there had already been violence deployed by 2:11 p.m. Cops were being attacked. The chambers within minutes were being evacuated. Pence was being evacuated. There was a near miss, and Trump was apprised of this. This is not deniable. Okay, at 2:25 p.m.
I guarantee you, Trump was being as quickly as this was developing, as close as it was to the White House. Trump was being briefed of this minute by minute. Like, oh, they're saying there's been shots fired. Looks like someone was killed trying to breach the Capitol. They're evacuating the vice president. There's a near miss of the vice president. They're moving to a secure bunker. He was being advised of this minute by minute, 100%. There was somebody standing beside him, and his whole job was to keep him updated on this. Now, he may have ignored it, but he was being he was being updated, 100%.
Donald Trump tweets, Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify a corrected set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones that were previously certified. USA demands the truth. So in that moment, when Donald Trump knows the Capitol has been breached, it's not like a question anymore. He's not at the ellipse. He knows violence has been deployed. He knows it's been used against police. He knows that Pence has been evacuated. He knows that the chambers are being evacuated and that they're in danger. In that moment, with the knowledge of ongoing violence, wouldn't you say that USA demands truth and the entirety of that tweet is an explicit endorsement of the protesters, the rioters, the insurrectionists, yes or no?
I would say yes, if you also agree that that's
Then you just understand it wrong. Many people have been to trial. Many people have been convicted.
exactly how it was in the past towards Biden's administration.
I don't have
even for a more worse effect, because you have to be consistent. If that's what you're saying,
I'll
you have to say the exact same thing about riots that have caused death.
Pretend I don't exist, but I will be able to beat whatever consistency test that you're providing. Are you willing to say that yes, that tweet was an explicit endorsement of all the violence and insurrection that was going on in that moment? Yes.
You're saying because he said remain peaceful and it took
no,
on, that was an endorsement?
Sorry.
No, then I would say no.
So he hasn't said the be peaceful tweet yet. This is 2:25. The Capitol has just been breached. Everyone's being evacuated. Cops are being attacked. Trump knows about this. At that moment, when he makes that statement, you think USA demands truth. Knowing everything that Trump knows in that moment, that is not an endorsement of what's going on in the Capitol? You're willing to say that no, your position is it's not an endorsement?
That because he didn't say anything?
No. He said, Trump tweeted at 2:25, I'm giving you the timeline, that USA demands truth. This is with the knowledge that violence is ongoing.
That doesn't even seem relative to me, particularly to the rioting. Because if this is a moment in time, let's just say the role.
There has been 594 individuals have pled guilty. 160 of those have pled guilty to felonies. 434 have pled guilty to misdemeanors. 68 of those have pled guilty to felonies and have pleaded to federal charges on assaulting law enforcement officers. 36 additional defendants have pleaded guilty to felonious obstructing, impeding, or interfering with law enforcement officer during a civil disorder. Of those 104 defendants, 76 have been sentenced to prison terms of up to 150 months. 4 of those have pleaded guilty to felonies, have pleaded guilty to federal charge of seditious conspiracy. 98 individuals have been found guilty at contested trials, including 3 who were found guilty in the Superior Court of the District of Columbia. Another 24 individuals have been convicted following an agreed-upon set of facts. 51 of those of these 122 defendants were found guilty of assaulting, resisting, or impeding officers and obstructing officers during a civil disorder, which are felony offenses, including 1 who has been sentenced to more than 14 years in prison. Approximately 561 federal defendants have had their case adjudicated and received sentences for their criminal activity on January 6. Approximately 355 have been sentenced to periods of incarceration. Approximately 119 defendants have been sentenced to a period of home detention, including approximately 19 who also were sentenced to a period of incarceration. So yeah, that's just what they want you to believe, that they're all just sitting in prison and nobody gets a trial and nothing's happening. Yeah, this is just not true.
Roles were switched, right? It wasn't Trump, it was somebody else. It doesn't even matter like who else, but let's just say it was somebody else. And if they truly said, oh my gosh, look at the situation, we're celebrating a victory, and these ballots came in and this happened, this election was stolen, and that's what they were going based off of, it would seem correct, especially if after the fact, if this was challenged and proved to be voter fraud, then everything what you're saying would make sense.
Hold on, wait, just as a quick timeline. At 2:13, okay, the Proud Boys member Dominic Pizzola breaks into the Capitol building with a riot shield. That happens at 2:13, and the same minute, the Senate is gavelled into recess and Pence is taken from the Senate chambers, okay? 1 minute later, we have video of rioters outside chanting, hang Mike Pence, okay? There are multiple people that have testified that when Trump heard this, he said, Mike deserves it, okay? At 2:15, okay, a minute later, we can literally see rioters running up the stairs, and then we see a cop lure them away. Hold on, wait, stop. I'm just reading facts. The fact that you're saying Trump derangement centers, I'm reading facts, like summarizing your entire position, okay? 1 minute later, let me finish, and I can tell you this. Okay? 1 minute later, you've got rioters that have breached the second floor that are like 20 meters away from Pence and his family, okay? And then 10 minutes after all of that, Donald Trump tweets, okay? After the break-in, after Pence has been evacuated, and after people are outside chanting, hang Mike Pence, Donald Trump tweets, Mike Pence didn't have the courage to do what should have been done to protect our country and our Constitution, giving states a chance to certify a corrected...
It's no big deal. It's what they want you to believe. They want you to believe that they're political prisoners and there's no real charges for them, and they're just going to leave them sitting in jail to rot and die, right? And you need to raise money or support or ask Trump about them. They want you to believe that. But the majority of them have already been to trial. Some of them are waiting on trials. A lot of them got out on bond or bail or whatever. but a lot of them are waiting. Over half of them have already been to trial, have either pled guilty, it was a contested trial, or a lot of them went to trial and it wasn't contested. They had agreed upon facts. Those facts are submitted, then they're made guilty or innocent, right? So that's not even like a real trial, right? You don't have a defense. Well, you do have a lawyer, and they say, these are the facts. If you agree with those facts, then it goes for sentencing. A contested trial would be like you give your side, they give their side, judge, jury decides.
Set of facts, not the fraudulent or inaccurate ones, which they were previously asked to certify. The USA demands the truth. You don't think that wasn't a tacit endorsement of the violence that was happening?
Why?
A lot of people still at large. That's true. There's still people that haven't been arrested either, even though they're charged.
Why is it, we already have
if at the moment they truly believe in what I said, no, I would say so, because even if this was on the
What's wild is they still can't find the pot bomb people. That's crazy. Dude, you know they've went through every gas station, every camera, every Ring doorbell, everything. Still can't find this motherfucker?
Democrat side?
No, stop. Bro, why do you have Democrat derangement? Just focus on just Trump. You don't have to keep going to the other side to try to like make your side.
I'm not going to this. I'm literally saying what I would believe. I'm answering your question, and I'm answering it as a whole. I'm saying regardless of who it is, because you keep saying Trump. I'm like, if somebody believed, if they truly believe this democracy was stolen, look at this example they had with the ballots. The counts, look, there were things leading up to it, right?
Okay, so you think it was a coup and an insurrection. You agree with that. Fine, that's fine. You're justifying why he has a right to lead a rebellion. Okay.
If the result ever happened where, yes, there was voter fraud detected enough, well, it doesn't have to be so much, enough that it did play a role in the election, then yes, those things you're saying would make sense. Then those actions technically would be more justifiable, regardless of the party.
Yeah, you're justifying an insurrection. You're justifying a coup and an insurrection. That's what you're saying. You think that the election was stolen, so you're going to try to coup the false government and lead an insurrection to support the coup of violence.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you. Okay, that's fine. All right, thank you.
Was it an endorsement of the violence? Answer the question, Rob. Was it an endorsement of the violence or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
What violence? What violence?
Hang on, we need what violence. So you denied that there was violence on January 6th. You deny that?
Dude,
I don't
Yes or no? Do you deny it? Yes or no?
All right, guys, give me a second. All right, Nick.
I never denied there was violence. But that's this is the thing that I'm talking about. I even said in my original tweet,
Hold on,
if this was vice versa and the Democrats did this, I would support the protest on January 6th. I will 100% report that. They'd be the first ones. If Ashley Babbitt got shot, they would be screaming, again of the police brutality. Why didn't he just tase her? Oh my God, there'd be another year of riots for Ashley Babbitt if they were on their side. But now they're like, oh, I'm glad she got shot and killed for trying to, because she's a terrorist. Like if those people, liberal or Republican,
I wouldn't say I'm glad anybody died, but I think I understand. Like they had to take a violent stand somewhere, right? Like how many times are you gonna let them push through? If she came through the door, but what if those 300 people behind her also came through the door? I think maybe that wasn't the best place to make the stand, but at some point you have to be willing to do that amount of violence with the people inside that you're protecting.
They truly believe. They're like, oh my gosh, look what happened. All of a sudden, the mail-in ballots after COVID, it took, 2 weeks to count everything. Oh, there was a spike in ballots for Biden after we were already celebrating for, Trump to win. If that same situation happened for regardless party and they truly thought their election was stolen and there was questions,
don't forget about that fake water leak and they pulled suitcases out in Georgia.
You guys are living memes. I mean, do you listen to yourself talk?
Dude, I'm
what are you
just to be clear, also, just to be clear, on the black case that you're talking, so to be clear, because you guys talk about edited videos, that story originated with a falsely edited OAN video. Raffensperger and every single person involved in investigating that in Georgia and the federal judge, okay, the district judge, BJ Pack, everybody looked at that video. You can watch the full video. By the way, you can see it online. Not only was that all a lie and it was all fabricated, last year in a court case, Giuliani admitted that it was a lie and it was fabricated. And his defense was, I have a First Amendment right to lie. That's why he lost that lawsuit. And that's why Ruby Freeman sued him for defamation. And why that's great that you don't know any of it. But he lied about it. He said he lied about it, and all of it was a lie. And every single part, the state of Georgia, all the Republicans there said it was a lie. And the district court that reviewed it, the federal judge, also said that it was a lie. And you can go and watch that full video right now. You just repeated that. You just repeated that piece of fake news.
Some of the shortest prison sentences were like a few days in prison. Some people got time served. Some people got a few days in jail,
I have no idea what that is. Look,
of course you do. You only know the lies.
Hold on. Ruby Freeman. If anybody here looks up Ruby Freeman, that is the Georgian election worker that was were getting death threats, and her mom was getting death threats, and there's people showing up to their houses. The FBI told them to leave their home because there was so much activity at her house trying to do whatever. But Trump verbally said on a phone call that she is a professional election fraudster, and it was just.
Well, even her fiance was like, well, she was kind of out there with some of her beliefs, but she truly believed them. I think it's such a slap in the face that the Q-tards don't even believe she was real now, or she really died, or whatever, that she even existed.
Normal person. But this was another lie that Trump used to get a Georgia Republican House of Representatives, or no, maybe that was Arizona. But this is another lie that Trump espoused.
You're saying that video was fabricated?
Yes, it was fabricated. Yes, it was.
Where's that evidence?
The evidence is if you Google, hold on, just real quick, Google Giuliani First Amendment right to lie. You can see that was Giuliani's defense in his civil suit when she sued him for defamation. He said, I lied about it, but I have the First Amendment right to lie about it. That was the defense. He lost that case.
True. Sounds good. I don't know what video that is, but
it was the video it was the one about the fake ballots being pulled out of the black box beneath the table. It was the one about the woman
the suitcases,
the voting ballots 3 times, and it also involves the story about the water main breaking.
You're right, the water main leak,
and them closing the election counting area and then opening it later after kicking out all of the Republican voter observers. All of that was a lie. All of that was bullshit.
I'll take your word for it. No problem. I've also seen, I forget which district it was when that court case when they talked about they did find evidence of like multiple signatures, ballot. You know, it was like I think a couple thousand ballots here and there.
No, I don't think so. No, that didn't happen. No, that didn't happen. No, that's not true. Nope, you just completely made that up.
This is gonna go nowhere. I'm out.
Okay. No, look. What here? Can I just ask? Just because specifically all you guys talked about, I know what you brought up with the timing and saying this wasn't exactly okay. Sure, it's the sole responsibility you're putting on Trump specifically. Sure, I get it. What I'm saying is the entire day.
Yeah, people who've never seen anybody get shot, never been in combat, never seen a response to somebody getting shot are like, this is Hollywood blood pack. Phil does a video on it, right? Oh, look, she touches herself. That's where she had to squib load.
Right now, from the Democratic side and the media, this is my biggest problem. My biggest gripe is the media. Would any of you agree or disagree that the media, the way they report and talk about January 6th, is not only blown way out of proportion? I'm not talking about oh, look at the time it took Trump to. I'm talking about the.
I wish I knew where this was.
Look at
where he admits
media before you realize that you lost. Alex Jones's stuff, where you had all the people that were walking around doing the interviews in the street. They were talking about this is a revolution. We're leading the fight for our country. This is the most historic day. This is the most historic day in U.S. history. When Ashley Babbitt got shot, they were saying she was the second victim, or the first victim of the second American Revolution. This is what they said when they thought they were winning. And then as soon as they realized that they lost, then it was like, well, hey, this was irrelevant. Nothing matters here. Actually, this was bullshit. Nobody cares. So the tone on it changed dramatically. But it was only after you guys realized that you weren't going to be successful in the attempt.
Yeah. So there's clips of like Alex Jones broadcasting shit. What? Destiny has those. He played them the other day where they're like, this is the first blood spilled in the second American Revolution. We're taking it down. We're doing this. And then after Trump sent everybody home, they're like, well, kind of got out of hand, but there was nothing to be won here. It actually happens in the courts when we do this, and we're just going to have to get back on the horse. Get the fuck out of here.
Sure, tone changed on Fox, whatever it is. That's great. You kind of still didn't answer my question. My question was, so you agree with, it was Kamala Harris actually, you agree with her putting this up there as 9/11 and Pearl Harbor. Is that what you're telling me? Let's just say, for one example.
I think that it is, in some ways, it's not as bad because the damage, and in other ways, it's far worse. You have a president of the United States who was lying to the American public for months, who was trying to disrupt the peaceful transfer of power. That is one of the cornerstones for how the United States functions as a democracy. We cannot survive.
We're not talking about like
military. We cannot.
We're not talking about like casualties, but these were Americans led by an American president who tried to overthrow the government based on lies and tweets. Like, obviously, it doesn't have the casualties. Obviously, it's not a foreign invasion. Obviously, not a terrorist attack. But what would you guys say if Osama bin Laden come back from the dead and led a fucking Allah Akbar brigade against the U.S. Capitol and they broke in trying to kill Mike Pence? You'd be like, this is nothing like any other time we've had in U.S. history. It doesn't even account for all this shit.
Survive a president cheerleading on the disruption of our voting process. That we wouldn't survive that.
Can I ask you something?
All right, that was about it for me.
That's good. I understand that you don't understand or appreciate anything about how the country works, but like Al Qaeda was never a legitimate threat to the United States and our functioning democracy. Donald Trump kind of was. Sorry if that affects you or bothers you.
I came from 2 war-torn countries and communism, so yes, I appreciate America.
That's great. Seriously, yeah, sure. Where did you come from that you're cheering on Donald Trump? I'm so curious. Tell me, please.
Russia and Armenia.
You came from Russia. You're looking at a guy like Putin. Do you think Kamala Harris or Donald Trump is more similar to Putin?
Do you think Putin's going to respect Donald Trump or Kamala Harris more?
Kamala Harris, because Donald Trump is an actual stooge.
Destiny, do you think the Maidan Revolution was a violent insurrection that broke liberal procedure?
I like that you're giggling and laughing when Donald Trump is a laughing stock in terms of foreign policy all around the world. Like actual foreign policy all around the world. By the way, no, just as a quick thing. So in your mind, when you think of Democrats and you think of foreign policy, you're like, oh, these guys are weak losers. In Putin's mind, he's seeing Gaddafi getting by a bayonet, thinking Hillary Clinton, Obama, and the Democratic hawks had my friend get murdered. Putin's thinking of Assad in Syria, okay? Having that happen to him, right? These are the things that Russia is thinking. And you think Donald Trump...
Gaddafi getting ass raped by a bayonet.
The strong guy who got photos and saluted a North Korean military. Okay, the guy that goes on stage and probably couldn't find Armenia on a map, to be honest. You think this is the guy that they're afraid of? No, you're delusional.
So let me ask you this. How come as soon as, Biden was sworn in, about like 20 some odd days later from satellite images, you could see Russian troops massing around the Ukrainian border?
You think that was decided in 20 days? You think in 3 weeks they made the decision to invade Ukraine?
You think they mounted this fucking offensive against Ukraine where they knew they had to be quick, they knew they had to be precise, because if they get bogged down there after winter, when everything thaws out, they'll be stuck in the mud. They got all their logistics, they got all their manpower, they got everything amassed in 20 days.
No, Ukraine has always been the apple of foods. I know the history.
Over your time in a minute.
I know the history between Russia and Ukraine. I'm just saying, was it just coincidental timing where the
No, I think they were losing the pressure that they were applying in the Donbass, and I think there was a Russian invasion that was inevitable. It was going to happen no matter who was president. It was inevitable.
What pressure? Ukraine was putting pressure on the Donbass? You mean like little skirmishes?
No, that Russia wasn't having as much success in the southeast as they were hoping they would, and I think eventually it was going to lead to they had to do a full-scale invasion. They threatened it. It was already on the table. They couldn't not come through with it. They had to do it. It didn't matter who the U.S. president was going to be. It was always going to happen.
I know the history of the Donbass and Russia. I know the people there. I'm just wondering what you mean.
Do you think there was an
they were losing that, so the timing was just ever so perfect as soon as that happened? Which, by the way, if you don't recall, Biden did nothing in the first couple of weeks of the invasion. He said, "Oh, Putin's going to invade and sucks to suck," and that was kind of it.
What do you mean? He got NATO together to supply weapons to Ukraine. There's nothing else we can do. What are we going to do?
Yeah, literally after the initial invasion of Russia failed, after the initial take of Kyiv failed. Yeah, then they saw, oh, wait a second, are they weaker than we thought? Maybe we went in one country after another. I think it was Britain first started supplying little arms here and there to Ukraine. I'm before this.
This is becoming neocon versus neocon, and it's so perfect because the Democrats are basically neocons.
Okay,
where's my isolation? Tell us how all foreign policy is evil in the United States.
The other talking, we're like, oh, Trump's a laughing stock against other world leaders.
This is the only time Twitter Spaces are good. I wanted to hear, I don't know where it's at, but we'll go back to the first of it. The guy says it right here in this like little clip. This is the clip that I wanted to hear.
That Trump knew he lost and was trying to remain in power anyway, and you still might vote for him.
You understand that you just got blown out? You understand you just got completely obliterated?
No, I'm asking for specifics. You're trying to push them.
Your is gaped right now. You are gaped, sir.
All right.
Okay. That's the clip we're trying to find.
And the Democrats at this, I would support the protest on January 6th. I will 100% report that.
He admits that he knew that Trump lost. He admits that he was just using this for political narrative or motivation or whatever.
First ones. If Ashley Babbitt got shot, glad she got shot and killed.
Okay.
Here, can I just ask, just because specific?
Kamala Harris or Donald Trump is more similar to Putin? No, just as a quick thing. So in your mind, when you think this, except world staging, nobody did, bro. What do you
now? Any other state TV media
people
besides
literally? Yeah, Canada, the country that. Do you think they fear Donald Trump?
They fear more than Biden, 100%.
Really? Why didn't?
In Russian news, Trudeau made fun of Trump. That's what you're telling me?
What, do you think in China and Russia, do you think they fear Donald Trump?
They fear more than Biden, 100%.
Really? Why didn't Putin pull out of Crimea? Why didn't Putin pull out of Crimea then when Trump was president? What did Trump do to Russia?
What did Trump do to Russia?
Are you like specifically here? Yeah, when Trump was in office, Russia was still occupying Crimea for 4 years. What did he do?
Trump was set. You guys like the hearsay, right? Trump literally said of red lines with Ukraine. Crimea was taken. Crimea started under it was Obama.
They maintained their occupation of Crimea under Trump. They didn't change anything. You're saying Trump set a red line with Russia?
Nobody wants to get into a new war. Nobody wants any conflict like that. Trump maintained red lines. Trump kept that peace. I'm saying overall in general. That's
what was the red line that you think that Trump asked his people? Well, all of them were building.
Everything I'm saying from.
Wants to join and wants to debate.
I don't know. I can't tell who else speaking.
In regard to exactly how
Destiny.
I don't know if we get this clip.
I'm back. Yeah, specific of countries like Russia and China respect exactly what you're.
Wait, can you get
Elon Musk tweeting out a deepfake AI?
Neutral, right? He said you can find this tweet. Look at the specific.
No, I'm not going to do your work for you. Okay. Another content creator, tell you this line. You
shared all over TikTok, all over Instagram. A Republican like Elon doesn't get flamed every single just to get an insight of what they.
I want to find it now. I want to see what set it up.
There's way too many examples in the
case and relates
where a Democratic lawmaker tweeted out anything that was like supporting or encouraging that violence.
You mean like
together? Double standard. You could say his work.
Take out random that Donald Trump was saying, bring out Pence. That when Donald Trump tweeted the
wait for the fact
it's just a coincidence that people wanted to. They needed to pressure Pence to do the right thing, and then when they were saying hang Pence and they wanted to find Pence, and they were saying bring out Pence. That when Donald Trump tweeted that Pence failed, it's just a coincidence that people wanted to grab Pence. That we pivot to the liberal it, or any of them protesting or rioting. If there's a Democrat, you wouldn't be using that as an example. No, evidence works, right? Evidence inductively builds a.
Let's stay on topic.
Look,
would you agree to intimidate them a little bit, right?
And Pearl Harbor in a way that like
it was going to take a while to count those ballots.
We're back.
Is Donald Trump? Oh, cool. Then you agree with me that it was election? You think that's just his time?
This is what.
Here we go.
What do you mean? They counted the ballots just as they were supposed to. Everybody knew that it was their mission partially. They delayed the certification. Do you agree that they did that?
What, delay it?
Yes, delay the certification of the vote.
Do you think
that was their mission? Was to delay it?
This attack on our democracy somehow,
or stop it.
99% of unarmed people was about to literally overthrow and end our government as we know it. This is what I've been hearing. My whole life.
It was an attack on democracy.
I mean, the crowd there. What could they do?
Yes,
what are they going to go?
Wait, they did do something. No, they delayed the certification of the vote. They did do it. They accomplished their mission partially. They delayed the certification. Do you agree that they did that?
What, delay it?
Yes, delay the certification of the vote. Can you think of one other time in U.S. history where the certification of the vote was delayed by angry rioters outside?
Dude, the counting of the ballots was delayed too. What do you want?
No, they wasn't delayed. What do you mean? They counted the ballots just as they were supposed to. Everybody knew that it was going to.
By the way, this Donald Trump has got the MAGA retards convinced that they stop counting the ballots. All 5 states that are accused of stop counting the ballots did not stop counting the ballots.
Take a while to count those ballots.
We're back in the Stone Age now. Like just because of like one nuance that happens, you're like, oh, this is what proves that like this event was actually so bad.
One nuance?
The end of
the delaying of the certification of the vote because Donald Trump didn't accept that he lost the election? You think that's just a tiny nuance?
To be honest, I think deep down he knows he technically just lost the election, but he's still playing.
Deep down, I think he technically knows that he still lost the election, but he's just playing.
Donald Trump didn't accept that he lost the election? You think that's just a tiny nuance?
To be honest, I think deep down he knows he technically just lost the election, but he's still playing the whole role.
Oh, cool. Then you agree with me that he was lying as well. Thanks. Also, thank you. I agree. Thank you. Thank you.
Wait.
Thank you. So you agree that it was an insurrection? Thank you. Yeah, Pisco, you're right. Yes, you agree that it was an insurrection because they had the justification, and you agree that he lied about it. Holy shit, it was in a way worse than 9/11 and worse than Pearl Harbor because none of those involved the U.S. president telling a lie to its citizens to destroy democracy. Those were all external attacks. This was one coming from within. Thank you.
That was really bad, Ross, what you just said. You know what you just said? You just said that Trump knew he lost and was trying to remain in power anyway, and you still might vote for him.
Trump knew he, and I think if you got down to a lot of these diehard Trump supporters, they would admit the same thing. Ben Shapiro said, oh yeah, this was definitely an attempt at an insurrection, but it didn't succeed, so Ben fucking Shapiro thinks that Donald Trump committed insurrection in an attempt to stay in the power by sending his followers to attack the Capitol, but it didn't work. It wasn't successful, so no harm, no foul. That's what Destiny got out of the Ben Shapiro debate.
You understand you just said that?
Also, not might vote for him, but we'll definitely vote for him, just to be clear on that. Oh, you might vote for RFK, actually, maybe,
yeah.
A lot of silence, Rob.
He had to go to Telegram to get his next set of talking points from the Kremlin.
Nah, the Elon Trump thing broke everything for a while.
Oh, wow. The spaces that Elon and Trump did?
Yeah, it kicked everyone, half of the people out of this one. I got kicked out of this one for like 10
Yeah,
minutes.
I saw that. I've been getting a lot of messages.
Lots of silence here.
It's been pretty laggy.
Did nobody hear what I said just recently?
No.
Yeah, it's a lag.
I said I can't do what you're doing, especially putting words in my mouth. I said at the time when you asked me now, the knowledge I have now, obviously it's different. I'm saying in that moment, in that space and time, with every action being taken place, if people knew, oh, look, after the fact, after the fact of voter fraud, the court cases and everything, you can't use these future outcomes to go back to January 6th and be like, oh yeah, look, everyone's there for a fake reason. At the moment, if you think the election is stolen, those actions.
Sorry. You said deep down you believe he actually thought he lost the election.
I'm saying now, today.
You think that his
previously, no, he'd be fully convinced that this election was absolutely stolen.
Wait. What is your evidence?
At that time.
So you believe that he was honest? Are you going back on this now and you're saying that you thought that he was actually mistaken?
No, hold on. Let me clarify. In the moment of January, on the day of January 6th, no. On the day of January 6th, I'm pretty sure he did genuinely think this whole thing was stolen. It was rigged. There's things going on. No.
Oh, okay. Way to walk it back.
All right. Wait. Okay.
But now he knows and continues to lie.
But I don't want to take the outcomes of today to justify. Yeah, it's because the election, was.
Fair enough. But wait, Russ, you're making that clarification. Thank you for that clarification. And so what you're saying is, back then he didn't know that he lost the election, but now he does know that he lost the election.
I'm saying in my opinion.
Wait a second. But now he knows he lost the election, but he's spreading the lie that he won the election anyway, and you're going to vote for him, right?
I actually don't know if I'm going to vote for him. I wanted to Vivek, funny enough.
But you just said he knows he lost the election, and he's continuing to lie to the American people every single day, and you're unsure if you're going to vote for him.
I'm unsure? No, I'm saying, in my opinion, there's probably a part of him that, yes,
now it's a part of him. Now it's a part of him.
Now that he knows. The lie of American people, sure. If that's something he's peddling where, look, this election was stolen from us, yeah, that's a lot of his base thinks. So if he said, no, absolutely.
Isn't that shameless? Isn't that evil?
I could think of a lot more shameless.
I'm not asking what you think more shameless. Yeah, I can think of things that are more shameless and more evil. Isn't that evil?
I don't know if it's evil. I would just say
lie to people and say you won an election that you lost. Isn't that evil?
Evil? I don't know. No.
What else could be evil if not claiming you won an election that you lost?
I don't know.
Far worse.
Just because something is worse doesn't mean that's not evil.
The influence of the media, the influence of this administration.
So, do you think murder's wrong? Yeah, but rape and murder. Like if you rape somebody, then murder them. Or what if you rape them to death? I've heard much worse things than murder. Murder, is that evil? I don't know. I've heard of more evil things than murdering somebody. What if you make someone choke on your ball sack and murder them that way? That's worse than like if you just shoot somebody. So murder, evil, I don't know.
Lying people like on the daily, I think that's far worse.
Is the president lying? The president lying? The president lying about winning an election? Is that not? If that's not evil, isn't this one of the most important parts of being the president? Is the peaceful transfer of power?
First of all, yeah, I said there's a chance. First of all,
if he was, he would be evil. If he was lying about it, it would be evil, right?
Evil is a pretty strong word, but I wouldn't say definitely lying about it. That's why I said in the beginning.
You said deep down you think he believes he lost.
Yeah, it could. Yes, even if he does.
No, you realize what you've done by admitting what everyone knows to be true. First you tried to limit the damage by saying, "Oh no, I just meant after." Then you realize that did nothing to cure the problem. And the fundamental problem is that yes, all of us believe that deep down he knew he lost. And it's one of the worst things that an American president can do.
God, Destiny gets some good content, bro.
The election was stolen when it wasn't. And when
let me look.
This is the content you've been looking for.
It was stolen. Was everything leading up to the election, as far as the media and what social media accounts pushed. The entire, you don't understand how many voters there are, including that 100% it was stolen. 100%.
You know what I'm referencing. You know what he's referencing. He's talking about illegals voting. He's talking about fake ballots.
The voter ballot, I'm not even certain of myself because I've heard a lot from both sides.
Do you believe if he had any evidence? If he had any evidence, why wouldn't he just take them to court? Why wouldn't he sue?
Did he not take some evidence to court?
No.
Yeah, but he lost 61 out of like the 62 cases.
Let me ask you this, just because I'm very curious. These court cases, is it everything you guys looked at in detail and deemed there was no possible chance? Because every year after, I think it was like, sorry, once I'm trying to juggle so many things at once. Every year after, I think it was a rise of 2020. The only thing I heard was injustice in this country, number one. The court system, the corrupt judges, no fairness, our legal system is broken. That's all I've heard. But then when like Trump faces trial of hush money, everyone all of a sudden turned to, no, there's no possibility of a slight bias in our court system, which is why I say, like, where's the consistency? Can you educate me on that?
People in 2020 were wrong about stuff, and mistakes were made. I mean, you're talking to people, Stephen, who in real time was critical, highly critical of some of the statements, both defund the police, some of the more radical statements about injustice in prosecution of various people. So, I mean, yes, you're going to find idiots all the time, and during 2020, there were a lot of dumb people who were misguided, a lot of dumb people who were malicious, a lot of stupid arguments. That is not a basis for you to debase yourself by supporting or possibly supporting or like being cute about supporting someone who knew they lost an election and claimed the opposite.
Rob, I've heard all of the same talking points that you're espousing. I've looked at everything. I desperately tried to find anything that would suggest that there was a large-scale like election fraud. Every claim that Trump has ever made, like on Twitter, turned out to be not true. Georgia, Arizona,
always.
The 62 lawsuits that he filed in December or November, or whatever it was, they all failed. In fact, like Rudy Giuliani, Sidney Powell, Trump's lawyer.
And then when it happens to Democrats or it doesn't happen enough, they say it's perfectly valid. Do you ever understand how crazy Republicans would be going if a Republican was charged with lying on a 4473 because there's a video of them doing crack cocaine like Hunter Biden got charged with? I don't know if
I do understand. I definitely understand. I see it on both sides happen, and I think it's ridiculous.
No, it's not both sides, though. Donald Trump was the one that went on Fox News and says there needs to be an indictment. You're sure, but no, the Democrats have, as far as I can see, as surprising as it is, seem to be decently fair when it comes to criminal charges on their side. You haven't seen Biden pardon his son. You know Donald Trump would pardon his son, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You didn't see Biden. So for all the intents of Biden directing the DOJ, well, it seems like, did he direct the DOJ to go after his own kid? It's hard to know that happened. We do know, you agree with that, right? It doesn't seem like he's directing them, right?
Oh, well.
So if he's in charge of the DOJ, why didn't he stop him from going after his son? He hasn't pardoned his son, and he could, and nobody could really say anything to him.
I would assume not.
Okay, we do agree that Trump was putting a ton of pressure on his DOJ. That's why so many people quit. When Sessions recused himself, Trump made him publicly for it.
People could say things, right? But they couldn't do anything about it.
Fired Comey because Comey wouldn't kill the FBI investigation, and he pressured Barr to publish false statements, and that's why Barr. We agree that happened, right? None of what I'm saying is secret. This is all like out in the open, right?
Yeah, it happened. I mean, yeah.
So how this isn't a both sides thing? It's like
I was not referring to you speaking about Hillary Clinton being charged and then saying, everyone on the right talking about Hillary Clinton when she wasn't actually charged. I was just comparing it to that because that's what you brought up.
Well, sure. I think we're only bringing that up because it seems like you were saying, well, if they did charge Trump and convict him of it, some people would believe it. But it seems like
I think a lot of people would believe it if he was charged in court and he was jailed for it. I feel like that would be extremely important. I feel like it'd be a much at least.
Oh, isn't Trump's sentencing coming up in a few days or something? Doesn't Trump have a sentencing thing coming up?
At least would be a much stronger argument if he was actually convicted of it, is all I was saying.
I feel like the prosecutions and also the 34 convictions that Trump got in New York, it didn't persuade anyone.
Well, no, because that was 34 convictions of falsifying business documents is different than inciting an actual coup on the country. I feel like that's obviously different.
There's certainly different crimes. I'm not sure why we would assume that Republicans would be more likely to
September. Okay.
The prosecution of insurrection or conviction on insurrection compared to falsifying business records. It seems to me the evidence is pretty clear that to the vast majority of Republicans, Donald Trump can do no wrong. He can't falsify business records because he's Donald Trump. He can't commit insurrection because he's Donald Trump. The evidence seems to sit squarely on that side.
What about the willful retention of classified documents? You had people like, there were legal experts, Bill Barr, again, Trump's own former attorney general, said that that's the most open and shut case right there. And you still had prominent MAGA Republican politicians, commentators, and just everyday voters saying that it was bullshit. It's a cult of personality, my man. It really is. And you know it is.
Yeah,
It's definitely cult.
My problem is that I'm not exactly a Republican. I just sort of want to weigh in on it.
You gonna vote for Trump?
For Trump over, I guess, Kamala? Personally, yes.
Why?
So they'll sit in here and admit that he lies, he does this horrible shit, that he should be charged with that he's wrong here, that his supporters are a cult, blah, blah, blah. Are you going to vote for Trump? Yeah.
Why, but more gently? Why?
I don't know. There's so many different reasons.
Give us one.
Yeah, top one.
Specific personal. I can give you very specific personal reasons.
Sure, one personal reason, yeah.
One specific personal reason would have to do with medication that I use and the FDA allowing it. One of Trump's running points was about cutting regulations on FDA for rare disease medication, which was something that I had been struggling with for 8 years. And he only when he became president, I think it was about 2 years in, it's medication I used to eat, and I was able to get it. And I saw tons and tons of people online speaking about it. And this was something that through all of, I wasn't, I guess, old enough at the time where when Obama was, at least when he took office, to understand what was going on, except that I couldn't get medication. So that was something that he did that I feel like people wouldn't generally know about unless it directly affected you, because it wasn't on the news and he didn't really speak about it. But it was something that he ran on that ended up happening.
Wait, hold on, just curious. Is
one personal reason.
Is this medication really expensive?
Yes, it would, if it weren't for insurance and a specific private company that helps pay for it, it would cost me $20,000 every month.
When you, do you mind me asking about how old? Are you older than 25?
I'm 26.
Okay. Do you understand that Trump ran initially on repealing and replacing the Affordable Care Act? And if you had a pre-existing condition trying to get covered for this medication, there was no shot in hell that anybody would cover you for it if it's that expensive?
I had been covered for it before the Affordable Health Care Act. I've been on it for my entire life.
Was it covered by like your parents' insurance before that though? Yeah, because at 26 you had to hop off that.
Yeah, no, my parents' insurance covered the medication, and it still covers it with the Affordable Health Care Act. It covers most of it. It would cost me about $500, and there's a private company that steps in to help pay for the rest of it.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I think that I'll look into the rare disease advocacy that Trump's done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's could have been things that.
So had Trump been successful in repealing the Affordable Care Act, which is Obamacare, right? Then this guy, when he went from 25 on his parents' plan to 26, no insurance company would have picked him up because of the pre-existing condition clauses.
Well, also, just to be clear, I'm pretty sure that the ACA is what extended the coverage of the parents' insurance, and that after you drop your insurance from your parents, you would have to go and get insurance of your own. I don't know the specifics, but I don't think that you can be covered under something as a new person. If you have a pre-existing condition that was previously covered under your parents' insurance, you'd be fucked. You'd be completely out in the cold.
Not without the ACA, that Trump tried to repeal twice, actually, and even attempted to do it again during the pandemic.
Right.
That's fair. I feel like through a lot of his speeches, he said he wanted to keep pre-existing conditions. I remember him saying that.
He did say
quite a few
that.
times.
Sure, he did say
I mean,
that.
I don't know if he would have actually done it or not, but he did say that quite a few times.
Well,
I mean, if he wouldn't have done it, I would have had a very different position because it would have affected me extremely heavily. So I obviously would have a different position on him if he didn't follow through with it and he repealed the Affordable Health Care Act. But at least for one personal decision, it would be that.
Is that the only reason, the primary reason that you?
I mean, I would say it's one of the primary reasons, but I feel like it's a lot of very generic other reasons.
Okay. Well, let's get a specific one. Also, listen, I love you guys. I have to take off because it's fucking late for me. Okay. Be careful.
Yeah.
Thanks for chatting. I love you.
There you go. We fast forwarded to the end. Damn. Destiny had a panel tonight that I'll probably go watch later, but he's got Willie Mack on, Nicholas Diorio, and a bunch of other creators. I don't know if it's still going.
This and how people are perceiving that conflict. And I would encourage you to watch like the video that I did.
Sure, but that big content creators
but
don't want to anymore.
It's like Rob Noor. It's not fucking Tim Pool, right? Tim Pool is like, he's never gonna look at this ever, and he's like huge.
Anyways, what else we have? That was a lot. Tomorrow, Patreon show, we'll be going over a bunch of Phil stuff. I know I'm behind on Phil. We've got a bunch of his posts, a couple of his videos. It'll be Patreon only, all levels of Patreon. We'll do that behind the paywall and check it on that. What else do we have? DC Medical Examiner, we covered that. The amphetamine overdose, we covered that. I still haven't read the 187 minutes of dereliction of duty. But I'm going to get to it. The American Presidency Project is nonpartisan, nonprofit. The app is the source of presidential documents on the internet. We're hosted at University of California, Santa Barbara. 165,903 presidential and non-presidential records. That's where I found those Trump tweets at for all of January 6th. I wonder if they got all the tweets ever for every president. Since the app POTUS Twitter account has been available. Someone told me that Trump launched live streaming on Truth Social the same day that he came on X to do a fucking spaces with Elon Musk. That seems like a bad business decision. doesn't it? How is True Social doing? It can't be doing that good. I don't think there's any new court documents. Let's see. Tort Slammo libel, tort libel slander, 2021. We haven't really heard much on Phil's cases, have we? 8-9, order dated, 3-page order. We've already read that. 8-9, 8-13. Now, this 9th day, August 2024, upon receipt and review of the correspondence of plaintiff's counsel dated August 9th, 2024, indicating for the first time that counsel is unavailable for oral arguments scheduled for August 21st. Started upon the counsel 5 weeks ago, it's hereby ordered and decreed that oral arguments of the defendant's motion for summary judgment is rescheduled for Monday, August 19th. So they're about to have oral arguments. They've been rescheduled to the 19th. Dear Judge Nealon, I write in response to Your Honor's letter dated July 5th, 2024. Please excuse the delay in writing as we wanted to carefully consider the issues presented in Your Honor's letter and Attorney Hinton's letter July 3rd, 2024. I understand Your Honor's office policy. We appreciate Your Honor's efforts to conclude this matter prior to Ms. Cosgrove assuming her duties. However, I do notice that Lackawanna County Rules of Civil Procedure indicates that this is general policy of the court to assign as trial judge any judge who decided a dispositive motion, assuming arguendo that defendant's motion for summary judgment is denied. It would seem entirely likely that this trial would occur during Ms. Cosgrove's time in Your Honor's service, and as such, I respectfully raise this matter for Your Honor's consideration. On a related point, we do appreciate the court's efforts to ensure proper and speedy resolution of this matter by moving oral arguments up to Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. I'm the attorney who briefed this matter and we very much prefer to present the oral arguments. However, my partner and wife, Kimberly Best, and I have pre-planned a trip, which we booked on June 23rd, 2024, to see our son graduate from the United States Army Basic Combat Training in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Relaxing Jackson, baby. We are scheduled to depart on August 20th. Family Day is August 21st and graduation August 22nd. We return to Pennsylvania on August 26th. We'd greatly appreciative should Your Honor retain this case if the court would reschedule the argument to accommodate the special trip. Your Honor's kind attention and consideration to this matter is greatly appreciated. Respectfully, Coleman Law, signed Timothy A. Bowers, Esquire. So it looks like they are moving that. And then we don't have a whole lot more there. Let me go back to the other one. For the Bree case, uncheck that one and check tort libel slander for 2023. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. 2023 case with Bree dockets. And the last one there is from 621. We've definitely read this one. 15 pages from 621. Pleadings filed, seek partial judgment in his favor against Bree. Yeah, we've read that one. So that's nothing new so far. Phil's been on a big vacation. Somebody said that video and said that all his fucking exposed Phil Godlinski knew attorney Tim Hinton before all this stuff with the Times Tribune, only for other reasons. $239,405.27 to be exact. Somebody was sharing his secret. He's got his invisible security team around him in this video. Where's his security team? Where are they at, though?
Oh.
Then we had this post coming out of Phil's Gold Co. people. It says, anyone else with Gold Co. just got a report that Oxford Gold has abandoned its customers. My worries are that they use Equity Trust. That's the same company Gold Co. uses. I'm thinking of paying the penalty and taking a possession of my assets. My opinion is do it. You cannot go wrong taking possession. You won't have to worry about any company collapse and the gold silver price. Wait, Phil said this was impossible. Phil said this was impossible. You can't lose your money when it's in gold and silver. Y'all crazy? You won't have to worry about any company collapse, and the gold and silver price rise factor will easily cover the penalty very soon. Gasara Nasara. Don't know anything about this, but I've always wanted my silver to be in hand. If money systems go down, I have it to use to buy needed goods. Yeah, because you're going to, let's say the entire market, the world fucking credit card readers go down. You're going to show up to Walmart with bricks of silver. Got it. A piece of paper saying I own XXX amount would do you no good. Someone else posted, it says, my bank tried. They even made me speak with someone from their fraud department. If your bank, if you're trying to do something with your money at your bank and they're like, we need you to speak to our fraud specialist first because this seems highly unusual. It seems like you're being scammed. And then we're going to have you sign a waiver. To still do it. Don't do it. My bank tried. They even made me speak with someone from their fraud department. I said, if you won't wire it, then I want it all in cash. They finally did the wire, but made me sign multiple documents stating that I knew the risk and they were not liable for anything. It was ridiculous. Someone said, not the same metals buyer, but yes, my bank wouldn't do the wire transfer without paperwork and signatures and lots of annoying and nosy questions. We were told it's not the bank action, it's the government. It's all BS. But as long as they keep wiring my funds that are only in their bank for the 15-minute process so I can get the wire out, it's good. The bank's over here trying to save these motherfuckers, and they have no idea. So when they get scammed, the bank has no liability to it, obviously. These people are so fucking retarded, dude, and they keep doing it and keep doing it and keep sending money and they've paid for all of this. This shopping trip brought to you by Gold Co. You guys want to know what temperatures look like? 33.5. I'm so fucking happy with it. By the way, thank you. A couple people donated money for the cooler and shit. Thank you. It was actually cheap, and I was able to throw it on today, and it is working perfectly. 33.6 degrees, bro.
As I'm standing in the front, taking all these arrows and bullets and all of that, you guys are standing behind me, watching it happen to me, and I'm falling down, I'm getting back up, and I'm like, all right, more. And then I'll take more. And you guys are back there, and you're getting so amped up. And I'm so proud of that. I could not put it into words. So, sorry, I get a little emotional sometimes just thinking about it. I don't know if you heard it, but this is a little tell that I learned in classes that I've taken, but his little, that's a tell that he's lying. That's a psychological tell, that little right there in the middle of a very important narrative.
Like he just did.
Someone's lying to you.
Okay.
If that ever happens in your real life, try to pick that out. That little smirk, not the smirk, but the little giggle. That's a lie. He's telling a lie. Keep up the good work. Really proud of you guys.
Mouth noises. Watch for those telltale signs, fam. It's even better when you call yourself out. Damn.
Tell me you don't see a difference between the truth-telling Trump and the guy that you see at the rallies now.
Phil, would you finance me a grill?
That Trump. Big difference. He is clearly, and I don't want to say he's lying, but he's...
That's right. Warm beer confessional. It was hot, dude. It was up to 100 degrees. It would be boiling at that point.
Roll. He's... Listen, I've been trained like you would not believe in body language.
If you're a hacker, would you be trained in body language?
You could come up to me, and if you have poor body language or if you just don't know, or if you just don't know what your body language does when you tell a lie that you're trying to convey to the person that you're speaking to, you cannot get that past me. You simply can't. There's no way. There's no way that there's no way.
Didn't he get scammed into thinking he went to Harvard? Isn't that his official narrative?
That I would ever fall for a lie if your body language is poor. You would have to specifically know to not do a certain thing with your facial expression or the way that you move your body or your eyes or your nose, by the way, it's a big one. Sometimes your ears or your mouth. Sometimes people that I met for the first time come up to me and try to strike a conversation and then they immediately lie. And I'm like, oh man, this guy's a Yahoo. You know, like... So I'm not going to call them out. I'll give them, you know.
So you just add a little bit of that to it, and you should be good.
You have great co-stars to play against. It must be fun.
You know, get out of here. I'll be nice. I'll be politically correct. But
that was weird.
Trump, in those videos that I saw just tonight from the Erie rally, it's just a game. It's just a show. It's just a narrative. What it almost seems like he's doing to me, and not just him, but the whole, anybody that's telling him to say these things, whoever it is.
By the way, these are all from Shaq to the Future on Twitter. You guys should go follow Shaq.
Our military, you know, the generals that are advising him in the military.
Shaq, the number 2, DA, Future. It's Shaq 2, the Future.
It's almost like they're doing what the mainstream media does. Lie and push a narrative, right? Isn't that what the mainstream media does? So now we're doing it back to them because the black hats know what's happening behind the scenes covertly in this operation that we're currently in. We're just doing it back to them. We're giving them a dose of their own medicine. And by the way, I want you guys to look at something else. Look at the timeline of the Trump indictment, the Hunter Biden saga, the call for impeachment to Joe Biden, the call for impeachment to Merrick Garland. Look at all these things. It's almost as if it's a tit for tat. We do this, so they do that. They do that, so we do this, and vice versa, back and forth for the last probably about a year now. You are literally seeing the chess moves on the board. You are seeing this play out right before your eyes. Every move is countered with a different move. But again, as we talked about on my last live, the game has an end. Just like chess, the game could still be going on, but a winner has already been determined. And we get to watch it. I know it sucks. I know it sucks. Guess what?
Phil's becoming a billionaire off of your donations.
There is going to be a reward for the suffrage that we went through. And I promise you all that when that reward comes, you will say that everything we lived through in the last 2.5 years was worth it. Every one of you. I had loss. I had loss in my life too. I lost my wife. I lost my children. I lost my grandmother. I lost my grandfather. I've lost friends that were my age or younger due to COVID, due to the vaccine, due to all of that stuff. So I have loss. But I'll tell you that
I don't know if you just ever seen him saying that Nasara Gassara would happen before Christmas every year. Like, I don't know why people are still fucking following this guy.
what I know is coming, those losses were for the betterment of the future. They were.
His wife left him for being a lousy piece of shit, cheating on him. She didn't like the QAnon thing. She thought it was fucking dangerous, lying to these people. He cheated on her. He's had sex with basically everybody he's fucking worked with. He's been busted.
For the betterment of all humanity. And it's never okay to say, well, I lost a family member, so it's worth it. Not saying it in that avenue. What I am saying, though, is the
Yes. So when the audio was cutting out, so it's not like it was this much better. The other one, the pump had just quit or something. The only way that it was actually cooling was just the discrepancy in temperature from the hot side to the cold side was just slowly pushing water through, I'm assuming. But yeah, like when my audio would start cutting out, that was above 95 degrees Celsius. It would start clipping and cutting out and freezing. All the way up to 100, and about 100, 101 is I get black screen. It just shuts off. This thing right now currently is at 34.3 degrees Celsius. I don't know if you can see that. I'll probably have to zoom in, but we're at 34 degrees, and 95 is when y'all were watching it and it was cutting out so bad. So literally 60 degrees.
Jubilee, the future that we're in for, when you look back, you will see that everything we went through was worth it.
Another one of Phil's tells is fucking with his necklace or his like collar or whatever when he's lying. He likes to play with his necklace, twiddle it, and then when he's not wearing his necklace, it'll be a shirt collar he'll be pulling on, moving, flattening, pulling out. To be a body language expert, he has a whole lot of fucking tells.
Keep that in mind.
So I custom map all my fans, and I do that with custom curves. And when I started having a heat issue, what I did is see how this GPU is kind of like a more gradual curve. Even I've ramped it up. So the fans are setting at 40%. So this is the curve. So this way is temperature. So at 34 degrees, it's running at 92% fan. I can back this way down, though. So it's all off graph 1. So if I edit this, let me get out of the zoomed in. So I changed this curve when I was having an issue. Usually what my curve looks like, it starts about 30, and then we can add a point. The higher it gets, the more ramped up the fan gets. But I'm not really concerned with sound. So at about 50% of the temperature, or about a degree, so about 60 degrees, I'm already up at 100% fan speed. It probably shortens the life of my fans a little bit, but I don't have to worry any about sound because you can't hear it on my microphone anyway. So even if it's a loud motherfucker, I don't really care as long as I stay cool. So it's just I control all of my fans custom. So this is CPU fans, these are GPU fans, and then the other ones are for top intake, bottom intake, radiator, rear GPU, front GPU. These are all the different fans, and I ramp them up accordingly. So right now at 33 degrees, I'm at 45.9%. At 31 degrees, I'm at 43% off these graphs, the custom graphs. If you really wanted to be worried about sound, you would have the fans a lot lower, and then they wouldn't max out until you were at 90 degrees or some shit. But mine's under my desk, and you can't hear it through the microphone, so I would rather keep my shit cool. which is something weird to say when I fucking basically had it like the surface of the sun trying to stream the last 3 days.
All right. I promised a Q&A tonight. So a Q&A is what...
Yeah, Sound Money Wallet's a fucking scam.
I will take the first 10 or so questions from locals, and then we'll shoot over to Rumble. Just give you guys a timeline. Here we go.
It is called the program. Anybody can download it if you got a PC. It's just called Fan Control, and it's free. GitHub repository. You download it, and it'll run this little sequence where it'll like ramp up all your fans one at a time. So to say fan 1, and it'll go, and you just find that very fast fan, and it'll turn all the rest of them off. And that fan is, you can just label it like front intake or lower intake or whatever, and you can control them all from a graph, and build your own graph, whether you want silent, you want performance, you want whatever. But I definitely want my fans coming on full blast when I get to like 60, 70 degrees, because if I have the curve a lot later, I might be doing something on my computer, streaming, showing a video and voice chat or something that by the time the curve kicks in, I won't be able to catch up and it'll be runaway, and I'll have a crash. So I have mine coming on a lot earlier. One, I'm not worried about sand. 2, I stream. Most people don't do that, but yeah, it's a program. I saw it on, there's a tech channel called Jay's 2 Cents. He went over one time and I was like, oh yeah, I definitely need that. There's other programs that do it as well, but whatever. I actually have like a beast of a fucking computer. So I have the Ryzen, I think it's the 5900. Well, we can open Ryzen Master right now. It's a pretty good computer. It's it's last gen. It's like the best shit from last gen. So it's a Ryzen 9 5900X, and then I have a 3080 GPU. Which I bought with donations and shit. I started out with a really shitty computer, but I bought it from donations to the show and setting money aside. And when the show was doing a lot better, we saved a lot more money, and I just kept upgrading it. I started with a 1060 3 gig, I guess. It's 3 gigs of VRAM, and a Ryzen 1700X. But we built it up. It's not the latest gen, like the 40 series is up, and there's a whole new Ryzen socket, AM5 or AM4 AM5 came out. Mine shit's AM4. But it's like the best you could get, almost the best you could get. Last gen, you could have that 3D chip if you're a big gamer, and then you could have the 3090. I only have the 3080, but it's pretty good. AMD really made this multi-threading. You need a lot of cores when you stream if you're doing a bunch of different things, especially if you're playing games, and you can even assign cores like this many cores to stream, that many cores. And the fact that they just put so many fucking cores, Intel just expected us to have 4 cores, 8 when you're multi-threading, right? And just stay at that. They just wouldn't go any higher. And then AMD come in and is like, fuck it, we'll give you all the cores. So they definitely made it more accessible. I couldn't even afford the top Intel chips at the time, and I was able to get a pretty high fucking AMD chip for, $100. So it's pretty good. And then graphics cards come out every year. You got the 30 series, 40 series, 50 series, 60 series. You don't need to upgrade every year. Honestly, you could probably upgrade every 3 or 4 years and still be at basically the cutting edge of gameplay and streaming. Especially with the new encoders and shit, like the new NVENC encoder. It's like I used to max out my 1060 on the old NVENC encoder, and sometimes I'd have to offload shit onto the CPU. But right now, the new NVENC encoder, it sets at fucking 20% of my GPU. I could be playing games on fucking Nightmare. I'm actually excited we do game on stream every once in a while. I'm actually excited to fire up a gaming stream. Maybe we'll do it after the Patreon show. We'll do something to hang out when I get some time early. I like to stream and play a game for a few hours and then turn the game off because not everybody likes the gameplay, and then talk about whatever. So one day when I come in, I can get in here at 5 or 6. We'll play a game for a few hours and then hop on to a regular stream. But I think it's going to be it for tonight, guys, unless you got anything. It was mostly just the Destiny stuff and the Trump stuff. We're doing a Patreon show tomorrow. It's all levels of Patreon, so you can join for as little as $2. I need to build up my Patreon. The people that have been diligently paying for Patreon, I got to get back on Patreon stuff. So tomorrow all levels of Patreon, $2 and up. We're doing a Patreon show. We're going to cover a bunch of Phil stuff. If you're interested in that, go sign up at Patreon. You can sign up to be a free member as well and get some other perks. Some posts I do on there. I do some free shows that are just Patreon only. You can go check that out. But you can sign up for as little as $2 and get the show tomorrow, or sign up for free and get extra content and stuff. That's where I'll be tomorrow. No regular show, no free show, so don't expect to see me on Twitch or whatever. And, yeah, we'll see everybody tomorrow. Thank you guys for joining us. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll hop off here. This was her shopping trip paid for by Goldco. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. We got a little push at work where I might be in kind of late. We've got a house that's supposed to rent by the 1st of next month. So we've got like a week or a couple weeks to like get it ready, get everything set up, and I'm helping with that. So either way, I'll be here. It just might not be as early as I have the last couple days. So thank you guys for joining us. Thanks for being here, and we'll see everybody on the next one. Yeah, have a good night.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the forking balls to call out.
She's in her jumper with her new tits hanging out. Those are definitely new tits. And if you've ever seen the donation animation from the boat, those weren't the tits we saw there. I'll tell you that much. Have a good night, guys. Thank you.
Okay, Scott. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6 cents for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like fool in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry.
That's them Goldco tits. That's right. They're probably full of liquid silver.
Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk.
That's the only way Phil's not disgusted by them.
Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off.
They're a long-term investment.
The place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Opened his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped them to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine, with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Whoa, wait. Stop. What? What? I'll get my files. Wait, what are you doing? Stop. Hold on. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. My mom's an alcoholic. Oh, give me a... Oh, my God. Damn it. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Piss them off. It's about to get lit. Get the place in the best. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Piss them off. It's about to get lit. Get the place in the best. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause
have a good night, guys.
None yet. Round 3.